Welcome back to another episode of the Obvious Choice Podcast. I am your host, Tyler Miller. I run a real estate team here in Blaine, cleverly named the Tyler Miller team. And you guys, I'm really, really excited about this episode, especially of you that live in the Blaine community. You need to watch or listen to this whole episode. It is all about our community, what's going on, why things aren't happening maybe that we think should. And the person that's going to make all that possible is a wonderful Jess Robertson. So she's sitting over here to my right, and, she is a councilwoman here in Blaine and does an amazing job, and she's incredible. So first off, thanks, Jess, for joining us.
Kind. Thank you.
But why I wanted Jess on this podcast, if you guys haven't listened to it or watched it before, I started this because I just feel like I have a ton of awesome people in my life that are really good with like one certain specific thing. That's like their thing. That's why I would ever go to those people for advice or help in my life. And Jess happens to be the person that I would turn to for any questions ever when it comes to the Blaine community, even like just what's going on in Anoka County, the government, whatever. Jess is really dialed in, super passionate, and has done a lot of great things in our community already that I love. And she's just freaking hilarious. I mean, every time I call her for a 5-minute conversation, it's an hour long.
Yeah, 48 minutes later.
I know. And we're both like, I guess we should get off the phone, right? Well, let's keep talking. Like, it's just awesome. So first off, thank you for joining me.
Yes, thank you for asking
I really
me.
appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know you're crazy busy. And I remember when I first started thinking about doing this podcast, like when I was making my list, you were right up at the top.
Oh,
like
goodness.
It was like, I got to get Jess on here because she has so much good knowledge about what's going on in our community. So really, really excited about this episode.
Well, that's super kind. And thank you for mentioning that also. We are also friends.
We are friends.
This isn't just like some political
No.
like campaign opportunity. Like we are legitimately friends. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you having me on here. Probably brave for you to do so.
Yeah.
So
Real estate
I
and
appreciate it.
politics don't always mix.
No, but I don't fancy what I do as politics anyways, so I
Right.
think we can figure it out.
And this isn't about real estate either. This isn't
Might
about
be.
that. Well, it could be. This isn't about my business though. This is about people in my life and my community. And I think it's important that, I have these connections because of what I do, which is amazing. But if I don't use those connections to help others, then I just feel like, what's it all about?
Right.
So anyways, what I wrote down first, because I want to give people an idea of what to expect
Sure.
with this podcast. And all I'll say is just stay tuned, guys. It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, and also let's just state for the record, I think typically you advise your guests ahead of time. I was advised like 15 seconds before we turn these microphones on. So buckle up. None of this is rehearsed.
Nope, she has no notes that I know of that I can see. Maybe she has some in her hair.
Water, a pack of gum, and a cell phone.
There's probably some in her hair
might
we
be some
can't
out
see. She has an amazing head of hair, guys.
stop.
For those of you listening, you're missing out.
Oh, gosh.
Curly,
No.
red, incredible.
Just what the Lord gave me to work with, Tyler.
But so when I was preparing for this, well in advance, it definitely wasn't yesterday. But when I was preparing for this, it was yesterday.
Like a final.
Yeah, it was definitely like a final. I always wanted to start it out by writing down the things that when I think of Jess is what comes to mind for
Oh,
me.
boy. Am I going to
So,
cry?
I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe, or you'll hit me, one of the two.
Okay, no, I won't do that.
But so what I wrote down is, the first thing I wrote down was spitfire, but in a good way. And I mean that in literally the best way possible. You are very unfiltered at times, which I love. Like you tell like it is, which I think is really important in your world and in the political world. I think obviously
all the time, not just politics, all the time.
all the time, but it translates, I think, well
Okay.
for everybody to kind of know where you stand. Because that's for me when it comes to political stuff, that drives me crazy when people are like wavering and
Yeah, if you have to ask 10 questions to get the answer to one question, that's an issue.
Right. So like. That's not going to be a problem.
Nope.
Jess is a spitfire, but in a good way. My wife described her as spicy in a good way again.
Is that because I'm ginger?
Probably a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
There's definitely a little bit in there. But my wife adores you too. She thinks that you're just awesome and just cares about, important things in our community. So she loves you for that. I said incredibly passionate about our community, hilarious, Every time we talk, I'm laughing.
God, pressure. Now I need to come through today.
Yeah, if you don't make people laugh at least 10 times, like, what's this all about?
Been leaving the podcast forever.
Sarcastic, which
I think we accomplished that already.
I love you for that, too, because I'm
thank
also
you.
sarcastic. Very hard worker, visionary, which that's the thing I think almost I like the most about you is that I can kind of like, because I have like stupid questions about the community. Like,
I love stupid
oh,
questions.
what about this? And like, you're like right there with me. You're like, yeah, like maybe. And like, it's just kind of fun. Honest, golfer, which is something I learned somewhat recently. Like, you're a decent golfer, right?
On some days, yeah.
Yeah. But like you're an
can hold
avid
my own.
golfer.
I'm trying to be.
How many times did you golf this year, do you think?
Maybe like 30-ish.
Okay, that's
more,
pretty dang good.
Probably.
And what's your average? You keep track?
No, that was really. Is this going to be one of the questions on your thing, or you want to get into this now?
I can
Order
just really quick. Average, do you know?
I finished the season. My best score this season was about 90. So I would say I hover around 100.
That's-
Is probably where I hover.
You could beat me.
Let's find out.
We should.
We'll film a golf podcast.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that, guys.
It's happening.
Opinion leader, a show off, and I said, and a show off when it comes to roasting marshmallows.
Oh my
which
gosh.
is such an inside joke.
Just don't even inside it. Just tell.
So okay, Jess and I's relationship blossomed when she had to use me for my house during a promotional video for the city of Blaine.
Yeah, a marketing campaign.
to try to get businesses like a Trader Joe's or
The genesis of the marketing campaign was to just break stereotypes, all these narratives that exist about the city of Blaine outside of the city of Blaine. Obviously, if you live here, you love where you live, but trying to bring new business that's not familiar with our community, that's a challenge. So we had this grand idea to go find the premier housing developments, to showcase the airport, the PGA golf courses, because we have two. Victory Links is a PGA qualifying course, and to really highlight and leverage the amazing things that do happen here. So I was like, boop, boop, boop. Yo, Tyler, can we borrow your backyard? And we need a pontoon. And I need some extras. And we ended up filming this. Okay, I don't want to say ridiculous because the video actually turned out really, really
Video's
great. It
amazing.
was so well done.
Yeah.
But there was this part in the video where we're gathered around the campfire in your backyard. And I don't know why, but the production team had like 15 marshmallows on like my marshmallow stick. And I don't know if you remember, it was so windy and there was so much smoke. I couldn't even, my eyes were like watering.
I was going to make a
bonfire
comment about
smoke.
the smoke, but I went with marshmallows because
Oh my
I didn't
gosh.
realize it until you
Until I
said
pointed it
something,
out.
and I went back and I watched the video, and yeah, there's like 10 marshmallows.
Literally,
on
I was like,
this.
who roasts this many marshmallows
So
at one time?
she's a show off. She's a show off with her marshmallow roasting skills.
Oh gosh.
Who would have thought,
know.
But yeah, so that video is awesome. And where, like, can people find that video anywhere?
If they ask me to see it, I can show it to them.
Okay,
It's
so
really
it's not,
something
like,
that we're
out there?
using for targeted marketing.
Yeah.
No, it's not on the city's website. It was created for a specific purpose, and I have a feeling that purpose probably is aligning with some of the questions
Yeah.
that you have queued up. So I mean, it was very specific. So it's not something we put online.
And that is like something for people listening or watching that I think, like, I'm always amazed with some of the stuff that's happening behind the scenes, the things that you guys have already thought of that like I'll come to you and be like, what about this? And you're like, oh yeah, we explored that like 3 years ago. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm a dumbass. But like that video was in an effort to try to bring higher end retailers and shopping and restaurants to Blaine. And so the people that I have some questions that are like saying, hey, when are we going to get this? When are we going to get that? You guys are already on top of it.
We're certainly trying to be.
You created a video for the whole city. Like, that's amazing.
I don't think there's a way to encapsulate. I literally, and I, going into this, was not a development and redevelopment expert. Business for sure, small business community, but never development and redevelopment. So really the last 5 years I've been drinking out of the learn development fire hose.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure some of the same questions are questions that I had coming in here. Like, this should be easy.
Right.
There should be no reason I can't just beep, boop, boop. Hi, Trader Joe's, just come here. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So it's certainly been a learning experience, and I'm not an expert by all means, but I literally live and breathe this. When I get up in the morning, I have like a routine. My kid's a doll, and she makes me a pot of coffee every morning. She's so cute. And I literally go through Finance and Commerce, the Minneapolis Business Journal, the business section of the Pioneer Press and the Star Tribune. I read like the variety section and like what's new and like restaurant and food. And then I take all those ideas, if something jumps out, and they go right to staff. And every Friday, every other Friday. We have a subcommittee. I'm going to call it, the name's horrible, so don't judge it. We call it the Super Development Squad.
Of course you
But
do.
we literally meet every Friday, and all these ideas get put out there. Tons of emails go out, and then I do the same thing at night before I go to bed. So 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, I am reading every business article that exists on the internet. If someone says something to me, like during the day, I'll go look it up.
Yeah.
And then I compile a list of emails, and they all go to Eric. I'll forward them to Eric at City Hall, our community development director. And I'm like, okay, why are we not doing this? If I see one more win for the city of Woodbury, if I see one more win for Maple Grove, I'm going to lose it. There's no reason Blaine can't have wins. And so it is the first thing I do when I get up. It is the last thing I do before I go to bed.
Yeah.
It's literally it's all I think about.
And stupid question alert, but like for most people on the city council, is that their full-time job? Or
No, we are
Okay.
not full-time elected
Right.
officials. So technically, what is required of me is to show up 3 times a month.
Okay.
For
Which is crazy.
2 council meetings and 3 workshops. That's it. And quite honestly, you can be effective that way. I'm not going to say everyone should do the job the way I do it. My thought process is that this isn't like a normal job where I am in control of whether or not I keep my job. I have no control whether or not I keep this job. So I don't want to squander an opportunity either. The voters have given me, the residents, my neighbors have given me this massive responsibility, and they can take it away from me. And so
Right.
I don't want to squander that. So I really invest. Plus, I'm super competitive, and I can't help that. So I give all that I literally can to it
Yeah.
because
Well-
I don't know how long I'll have the opportunity to be that voice in that way.
Right. And that's why I love you. And I didn't say this yet, but this, like, having you on here has nothing to do with my political views or anything like that. I want everybody to be clear about that. It is because you are so dialed in and you will give honest answers.
Yeah,
And I happen
that's
to be
kind.
your friend. But it has nothing to do with which way I lean or anything like that. It's just I know that if I had anyone else on here, I might not get certain answers.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah, I do.
And also I think for them it might become more of like a let's say the right things to that type of deal where I just know you're going to because you're so passionate about it, you are so well versed and well researched on what is possible that you're not going to sugarcoat it. You're just going to tell it like it
I'm
is.
just going to tell you.
And
Yeah.
that's the main reason I wanted to have you on here, other than the fact that we're friends.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate that. And I would echo that I don't do this either because of my political views.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, I just think there is no space for that at the city council level because it clouds judgment.
Yeah.
And I think it's divisive in certain instances. And you have to remember, like, we live in a divided world right now in so many fronts, and especially politically. And
Yeah.
so there's no side. The side that I choose every time I have a decision to make is the side of what's best for Blaine. It's not what's best for Party A or Party B. That doesn't matter. That's our roles require us to work with legislative officials on both sides of the aisle. So I can't go into my job picking a side and then on behalf of the city of Blaine sit in front of legislators and be like, but I need you, to hear me out and be where I am when they know I'm politically active, maybe adversely to how they feel or how they
Right.
do their job. There's no place for it.
Right.
It's a distraction, quite honestly, and I don't like it.
But it's like just giving some context and like background, like that's why I love you. Because when I was like, hey, let's do a podcast, never one time were you like, yeah, let's work in this political angle.
No, ew.
In fact, you were like, don't send me any questions ahead of time. I just want to answer whatever you got.
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
Let it fly.
So anyways, that's why I'm having Jess on here. So really quick, Jess, for the people that
Yeah.
don't know about you, maybe give just a really quick background about
Sure.
your personal life if you want to get into it, where you grew up, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Anything you think is relevant that we should know.
Sure. Yeah, I grew up here in Anoka County,
Okay.
in the sticks.
In the sticks.
Oak Grove.
Back when it was the trailer park capital of the world? No.
in Oak
Okay.
Grove. So we had
You were way out
40 acres
Yeah.
of land. So it was a different lifestyle than you
Mm-hmm.
can find here in the city of Blaine. Like, we didn't have screens on the back of our house, so we could shoot squirrels out of the kitchen windows. Like, that's just how I grew up. I mean, so, I don't know why, and I would not advise this to anyone graduating high school, but the trend when I was in high school in the 90s was to get married right out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good idea. That's not a good idea. So let's say to get
Hey,
to
I
where
met
I
my
am
wife
now.
when I was 15.
Okay, and that's great. There is like that.
We didn't get married out of high school, though.
Yeah, but that was the trend then. It was like really weird. Like, we graduated and we were going to weddings.
It means you're old.
Yes,
Just kidding.
I would agree with that. I might be.
It's like what my grandparents did.
So yeah, I got married like really young. and took a different path to get to where I am now. Bought my first house here in Blaine in 1998.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yep, 1998, bought my first house.
I was 12.
Oh, my God. Let me just shut this off and get out of here.
Jess is leaving. She's
Jess
done.
has left the building.
She has her cane and she is walking out of here.
Yeah. I moved here in the late 90s. Blaine was a different place in the late 90s. Target wasn't here yet.
Was there dirt road still?
There were, because the whole northeast corner of Blaine.
Right. That's true.
The Lakes wasn't here.
Wasn't here. Yep.
In 1998. It was a thought. The TPC wasn't here in 1998. Yeah. So, I mean, we had like every town's basics, like McDonald's, gas stations.
Need it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We know how I feel about fast food.
Okay, I know how you feel about fast food.
Love it.
I know how you feel about fast food. Raised our family here, had a couple of kids. Again, I don't like to be like, oh, when I got married the first time. But again, everyone's story is different. Everyone's path is different. And I think to get to where I am now in this happy, content place, there just wasn't a simple path to it. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Raised the kids here. 3 daughters. 2 went to Spring Lake Park High School. My youngest is at Legacy Christian Academy. My 2 older girls. Now, don't make fun of me for how old I am. I have 2 kids in college. One's in her 5th year of pharmacy school, and
That's
one's
amazing.
in her 3rd year of nursing school. They're college roommates. It's super cute.
Oh, they're college roommates
Yeah,
even?
they
That's
live together
so cool.
up at NDSU. It's actually really adorable. They're only 23
It's
months
got to make you
apart.
feel really good as a parent.
It makes me feel good as a parent on a couple of fronts. I love that they have a support system, right? Because they're 4 hours away, and I can't be there, and they can be there for each other. But yes, on the like natural parent side, like, yay, my kids like each other.
Yeah.
Like that's great, right? So
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm super proud of them. They are amazing. They are really amazing. And Char, youngest, she's a junior at Legacy. So just had the kid thing, and divorce happens, and then I got remarried about 15, 16 years ago, and the Lord moves in mysterious ways, Tyler.
Yep.
That's just the way it is. I mean, sometimes I just wish he would Jesus would send me an email and be like, hey, here's what's going to happen.
I know, right?
In
Give us
your
a heads
life,
up.
like when you turn 18, and you're an adult now, and the state of Minnesota says you can vote, and the federal government says you can vote. Jesus should just send you an email and say, here's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I know.
But he probably doesn't tell you because you wouldn't do it, because it's never easy, right?
No.
To get to where you are now, it's not easy.
No.
Yeah. So I don't know. We've been here a long time. We've been ingrained in the community. My family runs a business in the North Metro. So small business is all I've known my whole life. I've been there full time for 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And through that, then I got involved with the Chamber of Commerce, and I served in the Chamber of Commerce board for 7 years and chaired it for a year. And once that time was over, and as my kids started to grow up, because this busy parent life.
Oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of it right now.
Exactly, right? So you have to be involved in every booster club. You got to volunteer. At one point in time, I think the 3 girls were in 6 sports.
Oh my gosh.
And you go to that first night parent orientation. They're like, here's the schedule. Here's all the bazillions of dollars that you're going to be spending on weekends at the Dells for tournaments. And in addition to that, we need you to volunteer 18 hours of your time.
Yep.
And I'm like, where can I write a check, and who can I write it to?
So I've done that the past few years. I've donated.
It sounds terrible,
Yeah.
and it's not that you don't want to, but those sports are typically outside of school. So that doesn't even include all the school stuff. Sure, I'll volunteer at your class, or sure, I'll volunteer for this. And it's like, OMG. So as the kids got older and my time kind of freed up a little bit, and my Chamber of Commerce time came to an end, I still love the business community. I'm super passionate about the business community. I had friends at City Hall just through the nature of working through the Chamber of Commerce. And so when the council seat I have now was going to not be, he wasn't going to be refiled for, I sat down with that council member and I said, hey, do you think, is this the right thing for me? Is this like an organic, next step? And he's like, listen, if you have the fire in your belly, do it. And I was like, well, I think I do. I really love this place. At this point now, I've been here 25 years. At that time, about 20 years. So it's like, I love the city. I want to see the best future for it. And man, here I am. I mean, it's the most bizarre thing. I mean, life is just weird. And you can sprinkle in, I didn't give you the full autobiographical, and then in the year 2000,
she has a book coming out.
That's
why this podcast is, we're doing the podcast actually because of your book you're releasing, right?
Oh my gosh, I would love to write a book. Wouldn't that be fun?
I would buy it. Absolutely.
Would you?
Yes.
So I'll sell 1 copy. Well, 2, because I'll make my mom buy one.
Yeah. Well, your mom will
No.
Put it on eBay and I'll
Oh my
buy that one.
gosh. Oh my gosh. So yeah, here we are now, council, and then my brother and I kind of run the family business. My parents are missionaries,
Okay.
so we have a couple of stores, and that's what we do. So between probably investing about 30 plus hours a week into council business,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a real company
You have
to
a
keep
real job,
afloat.
real company.
And then, I guess I could say I'm the CEO of my household. I got to be a good wife, and I got to be a good mom, and
Very underrated position.
to and from school, and schools in Andover. So we're driving to and from every day. But I mean, it's busy, but it's
You're
all right.
crushing it. And you made time
I'm
for
trying
this.
to.
So
Of course, I made time for this.
thank you.
Yeah, you asked nice, so I said yes.
I did. I asked many times persistently. So, okay, now I want to get into some questions,
Yeah,
and I wrote down a ton of questions. I went on Facebook, and I appreciate that was your idea. Hey, let's see what people want to hear. So I have a ton of questions I want to get to.
Good.
From people, not just me. But the first one I didn't write this down, but I want to know just like right out of the gate. So how long have you been a council member now?
5 years.
5 years. In the 5 year time, what would you say in your mind is like your greatest accomplishment to you personally? Like
Not quitting.
okay, other than like
I mean,
no, I know.
yeah.
I'm saying like from a community wise.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Like what project was it that
Highway
like,
65, easy.
getting the funding for it recently?
100%.
Yeah.
About 4 years ago, we went through a strategic planning process. Because let's be honest, again, I've lived here 25 years now.
You know.
Everyone's
how
been
bad it
talking
is.
about Highway
Yeah.
65 since the day they moved into this lovely city.
Yes.
Highway 65, Highway 65. And by all means, I am not in any way, shape, or form like throwing shade at, council members of Christmas's past.
Yeah, previous ones.
Just there was never really a strategic direction to do it. So we sat down as a council about 4 years ago with a facilitator and came up with an organic like layout of what are the strategic goals of the city of Blaine as they relate to economic development,
Right.
as they relate to infrastructure, as they relate to just organizational health and things like that. And Highway 65 was on there. And I don't know I know what changed for me. I was just not going to not stop asking.
Yeah.
I wasn't ever going to not be in a position to be in front of someone who had the authority or the ability to influence and bring that cash to the city.
Right.
Wasn't going to happen. And actually, before I got elected, I was appointed to MnDOT has a public advisory council, and I got on that public advisory council before I even got elected. So I tried to be as plugged in as I possibly could. But once we set that strategic priority, there was no turning back. We hired state lobbyists, federal lobbyists. We put ourselves in front of everybody that we possibly could, even through a pandemic. I mean, I hate to talk about the COVID days because those were sad times for a lot of people, but COVID gave us a really unique opportunity to almost get in front of legislators and decision makers more easily because of Zoom.
Yeah.
And they would literally say, they'd say, okay, City of Blaine, we're going to sit you down in front of the Transportation Committee chair, in front of the Tax Committee chair, and in front of the MnDOT commissioner. You have 10 minutes collectively. Work it out amongst yourselves who's going to say what. You literally have 2.5 minutes. So we had it down like a script.
Yeah.
We had it down, and we knew what every legislator wanted to hear. Like some legislators want to hear about the environmental impact, or what are the bike and ped impacts, or what are the safety impacts, public safety. How does it impact, the police department? So we had it down. So, I mean, I cannot tell you how much we busted our asses to get that money here to the city of Blaine.
Well,
And that wasn't just the city of Blaine. I want to be clear. It wasn't just the city. I mean, I know I mentioned earlier just the political volatility that exists. Not here. Man, I mean, we had legislators on both sides of the aisle, at the state level, at the federal level, the county, the city, everyone banding together. And if I heard anything out of your mouth other than Highway 65, we were going to have problems.
Right.
We were going to have problems because I can't believe, I believe it just because we put in the effort, but the fact that we managed to get $196 million in 2 years' time is absolutely insane.
I have an applause button.
No, you don't.
Too. It's right here. There it is. Everybody will hear it.
Oh, my stars.
It's incredible.
All right.
Honestly.
Well, I don't do a thing for prizes.
No, well,
it is incredible. And that,
as a Blaine resident, I will tell you, especially a Blaine real estate agent, it is the problem.
yeah.
Okay? It's the problem. And by working together, obviously not just yourself, but with a bunch of people and spearheading this, it's a legacy that's going to live on forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
It's
you're
gonna change the landscape
you're
of the
literally
city.
going to change the community. And like, so anybody listening, when you are frustrated by the construction over the next 4 or 5 years, right? Whatever, or it starts in,
Is that one of the
we'll get
questions
there,
you have
but
on
it
here?
starts.
We can get into it if you want.
It starts in a little bit, and you're gonna be frustrated by the construction,
Yeah.
all the rerouting. Just know that, like, while this is all happening, your home values, your land value, everything is going to be going up quicker than in the surrounding areas. Because when I try to sell people on Blaine, the biggest pushback I get is Highway 65.
Yeah.
They don't want to travel on it, and it's always a big workaround that we have to figure out. Can I get on 35? Can I do this? Can I do that? So I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
It's going to solve a lot of issues for like getting more people to move into the community from the south, like from the cities. That's their big issue is 65. So thank you for my business. I'll be selfish. Thank you.
Oh, sure.
But as a
sure.
community resident, to not have to sit at the light on 109th
Yeah.
and 65 for 18 freaking hours because it gives me 5 seconds, not even, before the light turns red. And by the way, if anybody out in Blaine knows what I'm talking about, that intersection, here's the hack for that. If the light is red and the car in front of you is going, you go and you just become part of that vehicle.
Okay. No.
You're now part of it.
No, I'm not going to sanction that.
You don't have to say
No.
anything.
I literally just watched like the MnDOT security cameras like the other day. Someone did that, Tyler.
Yeah.
And they got smoked out there in the
okay.
intersection.
I mean,
let's not encourage people
let's not
to
go
do
so late.
OMG.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
All right, that's your deal. That's on you, man.
I'll live with that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
Do
it.
not, PS
like-
listeners, do not do that. The city of Blaine does not sanction that activity.
Jess did not sanction that.
No, she doesn't.
But I will say, like, that light alone is
Yeah.
ridiculous. Everybody complains about it.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just going to be amazing when it's all done. I can't wait.
Well, in truth be told, above and beyond just the impacts to a frustrating drive, it impacts economic development. Like
Right.
specifically one of the grants that we got for funding for 65. Because now keep in mind too, $196 million isn't one check. It came from about, I'm ballparking, somewhere between 10 to 15 different sources. Some of it's state money, some of it's federal money, some of it's local money.
Yep.
But they're all tied to something. And one of the grants that we received from the state was called a TED grant. It's a Transportation and Economic Development Grant because the argument that we made in our application, it is literally stifling our economic development. And it is. Because for the longest time, everybody wanted to be on Highway 65. If your business was going into the city of Blaine, you had to be on Highway 65.
Yeah.
Now, we've made obviously great strides in the growth of our city overall, and there's different pockets of really great places to develop and grow your business. But that grant specifically was for that. And that really was that, I don't know, it's about 60, 70 acres on that west side of 65 where the old movie theater was. That's what the TED grant was tied to.
Okay. The drive-in movie?
The drive-in movie theater?
What was it called? Valley High? Was that what?
No, it was called in like Drive-in 65 or something. Or
yeah,
Highway
maybe.
65.
Yeah.
I can see it in my mind.
I've been there when I was a little kid.
Me
It was
too.
great.
I went there too.
I mean, so where was that? Was that like Mrs. B's Dolls? Is it right there or is it more
I mean,
north?
yeah, it's in that general
right in there?
vicinity. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So I was just curious, like, you know, what was most impactful to you so far? I mean, I know
think
you've
that's
accomplished a lot, but
that changes
that's a huge
people's
one.
lives.
Yeah.
People have literally lost their lives on our infrastructure, and that is just unacceptable. And not only that, it's impacting public safety.
Sure.
Like our officers don't want to cross 65 at 109th. They just don't, and that's a problem. Like if you call 911 or somebody needs, you know, the police or the fire department or EMS to respond, and that time's delayed, it's just dumb. Right now they're averaging 6 to 10 calls per day related to Highway 65. Our law enforcement agency.
Wow. Yeah, it's that perspective that I guess I don't ever think about of like the police officer themselves.
Oh yeah.
Having to
Reroute.
turn the lights on and try to go across that would be terrifying.
And then hope you don't. There was an accident out there, I don't know, in the last couple of years where that was the case because it's crazy town. But
yeah,
it's in the rearview mirror.
it's gonna be solved.
It's in the rearview mirror.
It's incredible. And I've seen some of the designs for the new.
Yeah.
And if somebody wanted to look up designs on
Yes.
that? Where should they go?
thriveon65.com.
There you go.
All the
Thrive on
updates are
65.
on there. The funding updates are on there. Actually, all the sources of the funding are on there if you want to look at that. And then there are, for the most part, finalized engineered designs showing you
Yeah,
what
they're
it's going to look like.
impressive. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It'll be very like walkable and bikeable and stuff too, right?
Yes, it will be walkable, bikeable. There'll be a pedestrian bridge over 113th and 65. That is current. Well, that just popped up on the drawings in the last couple of months. So it's, kind of ebbs and flows, but we want to check all the boxes.
Yeah.
We don't want to do it just to do it.
Yep.
We want to do it and do it right.
So they can like walk to Chick-fil-A.
I mean, you
Isn't it, like,
walk
right
to
there?
Chick-fil-A. No.
It's like,
Chick-fil-A is like 242. I've lived here a long time. I say
but it's-
242.
but it's like-
125th. Ulysses? Sure, you could.
is it Cloud Drive? Is that where Chick-fil-A is?
No.
No?
Ulysses and 123rd is technically.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit further north, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
I'm still going to walk there because I love Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A's delicious.
All right. So, couple questions
Yep.
and these are just like not in any order. These are just
Okay.
random questions that I think
Do it.
I've had and other people
Okay.
have, and I just started writing them down. So, what does it take to get golf carts on the roads legal?
It's not going to happen.
That's not what I
Thank you for
asked.
asking.
What
I
would
answered
it
your question.
take?
You didn't like it. An act of God.
No, why? Please explain. Because
It's safety issues.
you go to other communities, right?
Sure.
It like usually warmer weather stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like, and they got you can drive a golf cart that goes
Yeah.
like 30 miles per hour
Sure.
all over the
Yeah,
place.
typically like gated communities or something like that.
I mean, these are
Well,
just you're driving down
yeah.
the road and
It's just there is a city ordinance in place that does not allow that. And I know you asked me about this too. Like you texted me about this a couple months ago.
yeah, it was like the summer.
Yeah.
So I was like, it'd be fun to like golf cart up to like the TPC from my house. That'd be
Yeah.
super fun.
I would not cross Radisson.
I mean, I'm
Plus,
just
you
saying.
can't use them on sidewalks. You can't use motorized vehicles on
But
sidewalks.
that's what I'm saying. Like, so we went and visited some friends in South Carolina. They have golf carts that you can just drive down the road because
Yeah.
they go crazy
Brian
fast.
and Alicia.
The Schultons.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a very, very fast golf cart. And I'm like,
Nice.
this is really cool.
Nice.
And it's just, kind of like a pipe dream type of deal. It's like,
Sure.
hey, we literally have a city where the PGA Tour
know.
comes to town. So it's like, maybe there's a way to finagle that. But I
No.
get it. I
And
get the safety part.
It's one of those things too where like in my mind, I don't care.
Yeah.
Personally. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't like rules. I like structure, but I don't like rules because I just don't think rules apply 100% of the time in 100% of circumstances. They just don't. So I receive what you're saying. It'd be one thing if you were scooting around your own neighborhood. Like, I don't know, they have to have traffic signals, they have to
Yep.
have headlights.
Yep.
And I know that the ones in those other types of vacation communities,
Yeah, they're
like
pretty
they do
legit.
have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not.
Okay, so here's my counter,
Okay.
Miss Councilman.
Okay.
Councilwoman, sorry. Council lady. What do you go by?
Jess, my name is Jess. You can just call me
But if I'm
Jess.
trying to be formal,
You don't have to be formal.
council,
Nope, just Jess.
let's see. Council, I'll think of something cool. But
Okay.
I personally feel like a golf cart is safer than a scooter that these kids are whipping around on through our neighborhood, going literally 30 miles an hour on a scooter that they have strapped milk crates to
Oh my gosh.
sit on.
Nice.
And like, it's cool, right? But I'm like, how does it's the same thing? It's
Oh my
the same thing because a golf cart has the same motor. Like, it's just a electric. So I'm just confused how
No,
is
I
it
get
because it's
it.
4 tires versus 2? Like, what is the deal?
No, I would say be careful what you wish for because you bring that up and then someone will get the novel idea to be like, oh, what a great idea. Let's ban that too.
Yeah, but why would you ban electric scooters?
I'm just saying, be careful what you wish for. But do you remember when we were kids, man, and we would like let people like get little buck rides on the back of our
Heck yeah, pegs.
of our bike? Yeah. If you had the pegs, you were super cool.
Yeah, I didn't
Otherwise,
have the peg.
it got sketchy, and you were just on like those little like bolts that would.
Well, you
stick
have them
out,
on the
like,
handlebars
2
in the
inches.
front, and then they fall
My
off.
stars. Yeah.
But
yeah.
like, okay, so to sum that up,
Yeah.
the reason it's not ever
It's
going
a
to
city
happen
ordinance.
is
It's a safety issue.
But do city ordinances ever change?
They do, but I mean, listen, there are hills that I will die on and
Yeah.
things that I am willing to battle for. That's
Yeah.
probably not one of them.
Sure.
If it legitimately negatively impacts your quality of life,
I
Tyler,
can make a case.
then you are going to have to be Brian's neighbor.
I'm just
You're not
giving
to
you
be
a hard
Brian's
time.
neighbor. Yeah, no, I know. I'm just.
I just
gonna
like
give
to
you
know.
100
Just, you know.
I'm
think
sure
these are
public
the
safety is going to
things-
say it's not a good idea.
I think these are the things that
Yeah.
like the general public just doesn't
Sure.
grasp,
Yeah.
right? And I am a member of the general public. I'm a stupid
OMG.
citizen.
You're not stupid. Don't.
But
say
you know
that.
what I mean? Like we're just
Yeah.
like simple. We don't know. So I just thought I'd ask. Downtown Blaine.
Yeah.
Let's chat about it.
Let's chat
Because
about
this to me is like the coolest thing that I've heard of with
Yeah.
the city of Blaine. So really quick,
Yep.
when I say downtown Blaine, what I'm referencing is your guys' concept or your idea that is coming, right? At this point, it's
Oh, yeah.
like official.
You can't stop it now.
It's happening. Is you're trying to pull an inspiration from other cities that have more of like the downtown feel, like shopping and little things like that, like not chain restaurants type of deal. You want more like, not, I don't want to say mom and pop shops, but
Yeah.
you want unique restaurants to the area, unique businesses,
I
that type
don't-
of stuff.
Yeah, certainly. And I don't think that was the genesis of it. Again, I mean, just on the development front, like what does our community not have? And we really don't have a downtown. And part of the reason is the city is really stinking big. This city's 34 square miles.
Yeah.
So it's hard to just pick one area. One could make the case that in the late 70s, early 80s, because I was alive then, that would have been like the Northtown area because nothing was happening up in, this northern part of the city. So now that our city has grown as much as it has, one could make the case that there would be an opportunity to do that in the northeast corner of Blaine off of like Lexington and 125th. And obviously the sports center area, and we'll get to Northtown, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So it was really just, what are we missing? And not only what do we not have, but what are we not doing right? And by that, I mean, why do I have to keep reading articles about Maple Grove and Arbor Lakes and Woodbury and Eden Prairie? That stuff peeves me because our community is just as awesome.
Yep.
Dare I say, better.
We can flex. We have an airport.
Not only can we flex, but I mean, we've never leveraged the amazing things that happened here
Yeah.
in an attempt to market our city. We've never done it.
Yeah.
We've never leveraged that 7.5 million people come through the city every year. 7.5 million. Do you know that is more visitors than U.S. Bank Stadium sees in a year and
Yeah.
Target Center?
Yeah.
It's an incredible amount of people. We've never leveraged it. We've
Yeah.
never attempted to capture the revenue.
Yep.
We've never attempted to keep people here so that they can spend money at local businesses, so that they can eat at our, local restaurants. We've never done that.
I know.
A lot of the things that I hear, like families that'll come in for tournaments, they'll be like, yeah, we came in for the tournament, but our hotel's in Maple Grove.
I was going to say, we only had a couple hotels up until recently. Then we got
I
the one
think
other
there's
one.
one that might need to be burned down, but that's just my personal opinion.
Which I don't know which one you're referencing.
You know. You know. You know.
Okay.
Or they say, oh, between games, we went down to the Mall of America. No.
I know. Right?
I don't want that. I want
Yeah.
you to stay here. Let's create an opportunity to keep them here. So again, kind of going back to that strategic plan I referenced, economic development and redevelopment. How
This
does
is
that fit
super
in?
committee?
No, the strategic plan was the document that the full council
Okay.
went through the process of creating, and
Gotcha.
we identified economic development and
Yeah.
redevelopment as a strategic goal.
Yeah.
So now you have to figure out, okay, now we have this strategic goal. How do we make it happen?
Right.
So we started identifying areas within the city where something like that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the sports center makes sense. The city, over the course of time, has been scooping up properties in there.
Yeah.
There's a 40-acre total parcel area that we've kind of identified for redevelopment. There I am talking with my hands. I told you it was
You
going
are.
to happen.
It's
But I
okay.
haven't hit the
You
mic
didn't hit
yet.
anything yet.
I didn't hit
You're
the mic
doing
yet.
fantastic.
I'm winning. But we have quite a bit of properties in there.
Yeah.
So it's all going to be demoed. Other than Invictus, because we love Invictus.
Yeah. So
love
for those that
Invictus.
don't know the location,
Yeah,
it
so
is.
this would be the southeast corner of 105th and Radisson. Southwest corner. OMG. Way to go,
Southwest.
Compass.
So between
So Quick Trip would
Quick
stay.
Trip, yep.
And let's just say the dirt pile next to Invictus, since we're all familiar with the dirt pile if we've
Yep.
ever sat on the patio at Invictus.
Yep.
And then all the way back to 106th.
Yeah. So
So it's a significant space.
it's a big chunk.
Yeah, and it's a huge task, right? Because we
Yeah.
all have these ideas, what we think are great, but just
Right.
because you have an idea doesn't mean it's a
Like a
great
golf cart.
idea. Like a golf cart, Tyler. So we hired a firm to help us walk through a master planning process. And again, kind of through an organic process, like what are your community's needs? What does your community need? How do you serve the families, the sports families and the sports entertainment,
Yeah.
that angle? How do you work all that in? How do we elevate the 3M Open experience? We have guests by the gazillions. I think we had over 100,000 people buy tickets to the 3M Open last July, except for you, because I invited you.
Thank you.
But like, how do we capture that, and what does that look like? So we went through a process, and we kind of created this master development plan. Then we went through the process of RFP. You know what RFPs are, right?
RFP.
Request for proposal.
Oh, okay.
So RFPs for master developers, and we had, I think, 7 people that were interested in this project.
Yeah.
And we whittled it down to 1. And now the ball is just rolling. So in the last 2 weeks, the city finalized a lease agreement for the property that is those dirt piles with the Minnesota Amateur Sports Commission and the NSC and the master developer. So we now have an additional ginormous chunk of land that we have to work with, where something awesome is going to go.
And it was the National Amateur
Minnesota Amateur Sports Commission is the overlord of the sports center, so to speak.
Okay.
The sports center is a state facility. I think people sometimes don't realize that also. So there's a lot of confusion in there. So I'm gonna try not to use the acronyms because I don't want to confuse you. So MAC, which is the Metropolitan Airport Commission. Got it. Way to go, Jess. You did it. The Metropolitan Airport Commission owns a lot of the land that the sports center is on. So like Victory Links, that's MAC land.
Yeah.
So it's a different state entity.
It's like leasing it, right?
Yes, it's like long-term leases. They don't ever want to sell it. They will lease it to you for 100 years. Literally, they will today write you a lease for 100 years.
Yeah.
Then you have the actual facility of the National Sports Center. It's a state facility. It sits on about 600 acres. Well, the stopgap between the state of Minnesota and the National Sports Center is the Minnesota Amateur Sports Commission, which is comprised of appointees by the governor's office. And it took us 8 months to negotiate a contract for that land because it's very complicated. The way that the sports center came to life, there were little things written in there that if they ever wanted to sell off land, it would have to go to the state legislature.
Okay.
So now here's where politics is a reality, and it kind of sucks sometimes, is the state moves really slow. Government moves slow.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to do that. So how do we get creative and bypass the state? Because I don't want it to have to go to a full House and Senate floor session, be debated, all that. It should be simple.
Yeah.
And then how do we not have it cost Blaine taxpayer dollars?
Yeah.
How do we avoid a referendum? I don't want to go full U.S. Bank Stadium on the residents of Blaine. I don't want to go Allianz Field or CHS on the residents of Blaine. How do we do something that subverts that, gives the sports center some wins, gives the city wins, and puts the developer in a great spot to bring a great product? So yeah, to your original question, it is not a hodgepodge. I don't want to say that. It is very strategically thought out, but we did take inspiration from a lot of places. Downtown Austin, even Louisville has a really cool downtown spot where it's outdoor music, but it's all walkable. I want you to show up one time, park your car one time, and be able to do 10 different things.
Right.
If you live in the city of Blaine, I want you to be able to go there on a Tuesday night and do one thing, and then come back on a Friday night and do something totally different. Because it's not just for, the people coming through for sports. It's for the people that live here.
Us.
Yeah, absolutely. We refer to it affectionately as the heart of the city. Like, what is the heart of the city? What does that look like? So it is going to be something that will embrace the things that are important to Blaine residents: that walkable space, that green space, outdoor community space, live music outside.
Can't wait for that.
We're going to get a couple of hotels in there. Invictus is going to stay, obviously. Invictus is amazing, and we love them. Huge, huge, huge love for Invictus. But everything else is going to be demoed. So you'll see new infrastructure, walkable core, a little bit of residential has to be mixed in because essentially you're creating an ecosystem.
Right.
You need that residential component to sustain all the other components.
So like an apartment?
Probably some kind of multifamily, row home, something like
it makes
that.
Sense, right?
Yeah, but we told them if they do it, it's got to be above market rate.
It's
got to be home run out of the park,
right,
like crazy, something that isn't going to be because are we going to talk about apartments?
We are.
Son of a gun, of course we are. We can touch on it when you get into the apartment department.
Yeah,
apartment
department. I like it.
Yeah, but it's going to be excellent. We just did a groundbreaking yesterday for the south side of 105th on a project that is being done by another local Blaine resident, which is awesome. It's awesome enough when it really is. We've worked so hard to bring people here, to do business here in our community with our residents. And when those people happen to be residents of the city, their heart's in it so much, and it's just awesome. It's next level. We're so grateful for anyone that wants to invest here, but when it's like Blaine residents, it's like awesome. I just love it. So that'll be a great project. That we just did groundbreaking yesterday. About 40 to 60 days to move dirt around.
Can you share anything about that one?
Yeah, I sure can. You can actually look up the website too. It's nationalsportsvillage.com, I believe. So it'll be 2 restaurants. One will be a pizza pub.
Pizza pub. I love it.
Yes, and it'll have a
pizza.
rooftop patio.
Oh my God, Jess.
I know y'all keep saying we need a rooftop.
I've been
you
crying.
Don't say.
I've been crying to you for like 3 years about a rooftop.
Listen, the same things you want, I want, but there is a path to get to those things. It's not like I can just go ask someone, build me this, and they're like, sweet, not a problem.
Well, whoever this local resident is, I'm going to hug him or her.
You can.
And
he would allow it.
That's
and
incredible.
Then it'll have a Mexican fancy tequila bar with,
God.
I believe, this may be conjecture or a secret that I'm not supposed to tell, but I think there's going to be a private cigar bar.
Oh my
like
God,
a members
Jess.
only.
I can't even.
Yes.
I'm so excited for this.
And then there'll
that
be
literally is like my 3 favorite things. Is there White Claw at the tequila thing, you think?
That's inappropriate. You need to recant that question.
Sorry. No,
Super
no White Claw.
inappropriate. And then there'll be a mix of retail and office space, a cute little ice cream store. I've seen some of the retailers, and I will say they're homegrown, which
so the
is
ice cream
awesome.
store is like more of a local vibe.
Yeah, it's not like
You're checking off all of my boxes right now. I love it. I love it.
Doing it.
So when is this? When will it be
Will
complete?
it be done? Yeah. Best case scenario, the end of May.
So really quick.
It really depends on winter. Okay, we got to work with the seasons now. Winter construction is hard. I mean, ideally, again, best case May, worst case end of June. So, in time for you to enjoy it in the summer.
But so I'm just envisioning. So that corner.
Yep.
At the rooftop, is it gonna be like looking out over the softball fields?
No.
No.
Other side of the building. Yeah.
So
technically, let's just say you're looking out at Victory Links.
Okay.
That's that first fairway.
yeah. Cool.
And Quick Trip, you get to look at a Quick Trip.
Yes.
I know there's a Quick Trip question in here. I know it.
Well, somebody said more quick trips, please.
Oh my God. Okay. Do you want me to address that?
Yes.
There are 7 Quick Trips. Okay. It's nuts.
I think it was a tongue-in-cheek question.
No. I'm going to give you a legit answer.
Yeah.
Okay. The exact answer is zoning.
Like
Zoning's super vague.
Yeah.
So all the places that you see Quick Trips are zoned that way. And when a business applies for a permit through our planning department and it comes to council can't say no.
Right.
If the zoning allows it. Now, I will say this for Quick Trip. Love it or hate it. Do you have a favorite Quick Trip? I'm going to ask you a question. Do you have a favorite Quick Trip?
in Blaine.
Yeah.
It's the one that we're talking about right off 105th. It's my favorite.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
love
So my favorite is the one off 109th by Lexington.
Oh, okay. Yep.
You know, where
Yeah.
they're building the new Culvers.
Yep.
There is a
God, I
sweet...
love Culver's too. God, I
I know
love
I
fast
do too.
food.
There is a sweet lady that works in there. Her name is Chris. I
Yeah.
love her. She is someone's grandma.
Shout out to Chris.
Shout out to Chris at Quick Trip.
Quick Trip Grandma.
Yeah, I literally heart her so much. I think she worries when I don't come in and get coffee in the morning. Because I used to go every Friday morning on my way to City Hall
Yep.
for our EDA meetings. I would stop and I'd grab 3 coffees from Chris.
Just for yourself.
No, to share.
Yeah. If you want 3,
Sharing is
you
caring.
want 3 coffees.
I drink a pot of coffee every morning.
Whew. Okay.
It's required.
Yeah.
It's just required. That's my favorite Quick Trip. I love her. She's so sweet. But I will say this for Quick Trip. Although it looks like we are being infected by the Quick Trip plague, Quick Trip is one of the few businesses that if you went to that store and said, hey, my kid's baseball team needs money for jerseys, they will stinking write you a check. They love the community. When that store opened on 109th, they donated $2,000 to Blaine PD, to the community fund.
Do you get a lot of heat about Quick Trip or something?
100%.
What is wrong with people? Quick Trip's fantastic.
Because I will say this, it feels lazy, right? Because I think what happens is we view our community one way.
Yeah.
And so when things don't materialize in the way that we view them, it's
Right.
offensive.
Yeah.
We call it, Tyler, we have a little thing we like to call Grandma's Crockpot. It's the Grandma's Crockpot syndrome. Do you want me to drop this
Yes, please.
hot take on you?
Yes. Hot take it.
You love your grandma?
Love my grandma.
Dude, I love your grandma because I've seen you post pictures of her.
Yeah.
She's super cute.
She's the best.
So I lost all my grandparents like in a short amount of time. One during COVID, and then the last 3, all passed away last summer.
You know what? I do remember that.
I have a soft spot for grandmas and grandpas. I won't cry. I might, just because I love them so much.
Yeah.
So I spend a lot of time at the senior center. I seek out opportunities to just be around old people.
Yeah.
Because they're so cute. But grandma's crockpot. You have this crockpot that was your grandma's. You put it in a garage sale. You put a $10 sticker price on it. Some a-hole comes up to you and says, I'll give you $5 for this. Instantly, what happens? You're pissed off.
Yeah.
Because you've assimilated an emotional value that exceeds $10,
Right.
certainly exceeds $5. So
Yeah.
instantly you're upset.
Yeah.
Grandma's crockpot.
Yep.
And so I think it's the same with the community. And I feel that way too. Like, I think sometimes people think when things happen that I'm like, hooray,
Yeah.
7 quick trips. No, I'm not hooray 7 quick trips
Yeah.
because I do think we can do better. But zoning sometimes prohibits us from doing anything other than just saying, all right.
So when you say something better, are you saying a different gas station? Or are
No.
you saying, okay.
How many gas stations we need?
So I'm just saying, if it's a
Yeah.
gas station, I don't see anything wrong with Quick Trip.
No.
Right? I think
Yes,
it's fantastic.
If you had to choose one.
Quick Trip or Holiday is fantastic. Love them
Done.
both. Okay.
Yep.
Anything else? Like, honestly, get out of here. But what else could go there? Like, what for that zone? Like, what
So
else
it's
are we
not like
missing?
there's just like a gas station zone. It's just that in a PBD, which is a planned business district, that basically allows gas stations. So it also allows 200 other things.
Okay.
But if the ask is for one of those 200 things, I can't say, sorry, why don't you try Coon Rapids? I hear they need a
Could
quick
it
trip.
be? Could it be like retail? Could it be
It
restaurants?
can be.
Okay.
It can be.
Okay.
Yes.
So maybe that's where it's a little frustrating then. 'Cause
It's
like,
super frustrating, but that's why also, and I don't know if this question is on there too, like, oh, why doesn't Blaine do better? Again, I live here too.
Yeah.
I think that Blaine can do better, and I really believe that passionately, which is why my hair is literally turning white because I don't sleep enough. And I stress about this
Yeah.
because it's a lot of responsibility.
It is a ton of responsibility.
It's a ton. But we have created new zoning districts that just don't allow things.
Okay.
So, for instance, Main Street and Lexington, that is a zoning that only exists there, and it does not allow gas stations. Because I don't want a gas station.
What does it allow?
Lots of things.
So you're talking the southeast corner or southwest
corner.
Yeah.
There are some plans that we've seen. It includes a 60,000 square foot grocer who no, I can't tell you because I can't.
Do you know who it is?
Yes, I absolutely do.
You know who it is.
I 100% do.
Can you say who it's not? If I ask you
It's
a
not Cub.
question, okay, that was my
Okay,
only question.
it's not Cub.
Not Cub.
It's
All right,
not Cub.
ladies and gentlemen, it's not a Cub.
It's not Cub. It's not Cub.
Yeah, look
I
in the
promise
camera.
It's not Cub.
Do I need to zoom in?
It's not Cub.
Jess Robertson, you've been sworn in.
I'm going to make a T-shirt that says "It's not Cub."
Can you get me a T-shirt?
You know,
I swear to God, I'll wear
literally
one.
have a list of shirts that I'm going to make based on my council experience.
You seriously should, and I would wear
I will
almost all
show
of
you
them.
the list. You will die. It's hilarious. I should have brought
It's
it.
not Cub, is because there's a I love my Cub shirt.
Listen, I have the I Love My Cub coffee cup because I went in there one day and they gave it to me and I just happened to like it.
Yeah,
It's fine.
Yeah.
Cub's convenient. It's fine.
But
Is
when
it
we get a
ideal? Is it the
shirt-
best? No.
we're gonna get a sticker that you stick over that mug, and it's gonna say it's not Cub.
Exactly.
Hashtag Jess
Exactly.
Robertson.
It'll also include a couple of retail areas, so
Can-
similar to like
hold
the
on,
Lexi shops.
Hold on,
Yep.
really quick. Going back,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make you say what it is.
I won't say even if you.
I
ask
know
me
you
to.
won't. But do you feel that the Blaine community will be happy?
I would hope so.
Okay.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Are
I like
you?
it.
Are you?
Yeah, I live near
Well, then-
there, so I'm like, let's
yeah.
go. I'd be there all the time.
Then we're gonna all love it.
Okay, you better.
We will. Thank you, by the way, because I know you probably
Someone
worked your
will
butt
hate
off
it.
to get it. Absolutely. Somebody hates everything.
Will absolutely hate it, and I think that's one thing that just sends me into.
I can relate. I sent out a email to my database last week, and it was just a weekly motivational quote.
What was the quote? Tell me.
Honestly, I
Dígame.
couldn't remember. at
Oh,
this point.
great. So
I know.
really
It was-
impactful.
Well, super impactful.
Great.
But anyways, it was just like, hey, I'm just like, let's not talk real estate. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Here's some motivation for the week.
Yeah.
Whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because I think I surround myself with that all the time, but I realize a lot of people don't
Yeah.
invest in podcasts. They don't work on mindset
Sure.
stuff. So hey, whatever. Like somebody immediately. Like, hey, I don't need to get any inspiration from the Tyler Miller team. Please take me off your list. And I'm just like,
OMG.
sorry, guy. Like,
Gosh.
you know,
Did
so
you respond with like locations for Eaglebrook and service times? Sir,
I'm always just like,
Sir.
have a wonderful day.
God bless you.
I should start saying God bless.
Just bless your heart.
But like, I hear what you're saying because, you know, yes, I thought that was a great idea, something
Yeah.
super minor, whatever. You know, if people don't like it, they'll delete it. But yes, there's always going to be somebody that complains no matter what you do.
And government's probably for sure at the top of people's hate list.
For sure.
There is never, and I think I've said this in council meetings before. I mean, if you are just like itching for like a hoot of a time, or you've binged all the crap you could binge on Netflix and Apple TV and Amazon Prime, just watch council meetings on Monday night.
Yeah.
They're a hoot. They're an absolute hoot. But I think I've said this before. Never in the history of government has government ever done something where 100%
No.
of people are happy. It just doesn't exist.
Nope.
I like to think it does, because in my space, in my own world, it just for me takes less energy to be kind or just let things go than it does to log onto Facebook and angry type about
Right.
how the city of Blaine cuts down trees and sells them to make money for themselves, or
Right.
whatever the issue of the day is. I mean,
Right.
I'm all for people having a space to say what they want. And I honestly have probably a little bit of empathy and grace for it, just because they don't know. You know because you ask.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 times out of 10, if I have the opportunity to sit down with someone, it really shifts the way that they think, because now I've just told you how exactly what you think is real
Right.
is not real.
Right.
And I've closed multiple conversations saying, hey, if I could have this conversation with 72,000 people, I would do it.
Mm-hmm.
I would do it. I would
Well,
do this.
we'll get close to that on this podcast. You know.
Oh, for sure.
There's at
72?
least-
72
yeah,
people?
It's like around 68,000 people.
oh,
No, I'm
yeah.
just kidding.
Yeah, for
maybe
sure.
68 people. But I think, that's what I was going to say is you said maybe there's probably not a project out there that everybody agrees upon, but I can tell you, I think you nailed it with a pizza pub rooftop with a tequila bar and maybe a cigar bar. I'm telling you right now.
No, there's already been some.
Who are you people? Look, okay, if you're watching this, who are you people? Who doesn't like that? That's everything that's great
I don't
about America and the world. Pizza,
Tequila?
outdoor live music, probably rooftop,
Probably rooftop,
tequila, and cigars. Come on now, people.
I know.
Calm down.
I know. It's
You
all
know,
right.
But I hear
People
you.
are super brave on the internet, though, so it's
Really?
fine.
Oh, yeah.
Just be in your little brave keyboard warrior space. It's fine.
Oh my gosh. All right. So lots of cool things happening, and,
Yeah.
and like all of this, by the way, except for like the details of the grocer and stuff like that. But all these types of plans are all on your guys' website, right? Most of it.
There may be, I think so. If you go onto blainemn.gov
Mm-hmm.
and you click business and development, there is a tab that has an interactive map that'll show you upcoming development, proposed development,
Right.
in progress development, completed development. And I believe that project is in there.
Yeah.
Now, let me caveat with this. We did rezone that space. Currently, the zoning does not allow housing. Okay, I want to be so clear with you. And that's also 40 acres on that corner. There's been a lot of hoopla about council's desire to want to throw apartments everywhere.
Yes.
Not happening. Now, there is a proposal for housing on that drawing. It's not 2 buildings, 300 units. It's a drawing. There'll be some kind of housing. I don't know what it'll look like.
By the grocer there. Mm-hmm. Well, and okay.
Again, it's about ecosystems. Here's the weird buzzword with these larger development projects. They have to be an ecosystem.
Yeah.
They can't just rely on things or residents or people coming from outside of whatever the area is to support that business.
And you explained this to me a few years ago, so I get it.
Yeah.
But what she's talking about, and I'll just say it in like layman's terms, there's certain businesses and companies and grocery stores, for example, that we want to have come to this community.
Sure.
But their criteria is very rigid, and they will not
Yeah.
flex on that. And in order for us to meet their criteria, we have to install, we have to bring in more people. We have to bring in more.
It's density.
Right, it's density. So, like,
Yeah.
the people complaining about apartments, first off, what I would say is I think if we continue to do apartments that are like the one that just got built on Lexington right there by Jersey Mike's,
Yep.
I think that looks great.
Have
It's
you
not.
you should go there. We toured it like 3 weeks
Yeah.
ago. No, I will also make this blanket statement. I personally am not a huge fan of apartments.
I'm
I'm
not
just not. What I have
Low end apartments, I would agree.
Well, we don't have that's the other thing that floats out there. Oh, the city's going to Section 8 these. You can't do that.
That's correct.
all through the Department of Human Housing and Urban Development.
Yeah, HUD.
HUD, yes, and then through the county. They have X amount of vouchers that are even allowed.
Yep.
We're not there. We have no desire to do that. I am very well aware that part of my responsibility is to preserve the integrity of who we are as a community.
Yeah.
Blaine is not. I want to repeat, Blaine is not an apartment community. It's just not.
Absolutely not.
I will give you some legitimate statistics because somebody did ask for these, so staff sent them out. Other communities like Maple Grove, tons of development and crazy things happening, right? Like, I want to say it's like 12% of their housing product in general is high density housing. It's apartments.
Apartments, yeah.
The city of Blaine, less than 6% of our overall housing product is high density. Now, if people are worried about low income types of housing, we have met our quota for low income housing. There is a quota set by the Met Council. They are the overlords of local government.
Yeah.
We've already exceeded it because of all of the lovely mobile home communities we have. And I'm not saying lovely to be sarcastic. I mean, they serve a purpose.
Yep.
And we've already met that. There's no quotas to meet. I'm not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. I personally don't like apartments. Do I think there's a place for them? 100%. And that one on Lexington makes sense because you know what Aveda needs? The largest employer in our city? Workforce.
Right.
Do you know what all those little industrial places back there need? Workforce. Where does workforce come from? Young professionals.
Yep.
Young professionals don't want to buy houses.
They can't right now.
Or they can't. And so there is a space for it. Do I want to put them everywhere? No, I absolutely do not.
Let's address the one location that concerns me as well. Somebody has mentioned that there's one near the Lakes community.
The one that's happening now?
I don't know. Is there one happening right now?
No, it's not apartments. No. Well, okay, Okay.
So this might be hearsay, and that's okay.
I think if I had to guess, maybe what that is referencing is that southwest corner of Lexington. Because eventually the plan for the city, and it always has been since y'all even moved into those houses, was to connect Lakes Parkway to Lexington Avenue.
Okay. Yep.
That is going to happen.
Eventually, yep. And there's a bunch of land in between. There's the dragon driveway gate.
Yeah, the Dragon House. Yeah. Dragon Gate House.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff in the way right now.
But if I had to guess, I think that's what they're referring to. Because like I just told you, there was a site plan shown to council in workshop. There's been zero permits pulled. Yeah. There's been zero planning commission, nothing. It's just site plans. It's vision planning, right? Like, what can I do? What will the city let me do before I spend bazillions of dollars and present a plan that's going to not be passed?
Right.
There were high density housing was on there. It wasn't 300 units.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything like that.
But it's like not like
but
right
I don't know if that's
outside the neighborhood that you're aware of, right? Okay.
No, all that other land has been identified for housing, but the dialogue that we've had at City Hall about that was for, so you know, on the back west side of, well, I suppose it would be the east side, excuse me, the east side of the lakes development, where it's kind of like it tapers off, right? So in the middle, in the core around the lakes, you have these lovely 2-3 story homes, and then as it tapers off, you have really high end, like executive detached townhouses. Yep. And then as you get farther out, now you have single level, maybe not executive level, but very lovely detached townhomes. And then it goes like into townhome factories. Yep. The dialogue was just to extend what's already there. And it was never like, let's put apartments. And I think too, the term high density housing, so HDR is the zoning code, doesn't mean apartments. That means units per acre. So, for instance, a quad home, like the ones that Nate's doing. Yeah. That required a high density zoning designation. Right. Because it's the units per acre. It's not, that means apartments. Yeah. And it's confusing, and I understand that.
Well, but I think that's good for people to know.
Yeah, but again, I have tons of grace for people that have not invested 5 years into their lives into trying to figure all this out, because I'm trying to figure it out too. Right. So ask questions.
But I mean, as a person that lives in the lakes, loves the lakes neighborhood, thinks it's one of the greatest neighborhoods in our entire state
100%.
by far. And I think it's important that we try to protect that. But talk of maybe an apartment building, for example, going on that corner, if that's where it's going, wouldn't bother me at all. I would not be upset by that because I understand we need that to bring in the things that we ultimately want.
Well, I can tell you the philosophy for choosing locations of the grocer that we talked about, didn't talk about.
Yeah.
They don't care. Density's not their thing.
Okay.
What their metric is are there enough families near our location that spend $500 on groceries every other week?
Yes.
Well, yeah, exactly, because we're funneling,
We spend
all the
enough for
residents
2 of those families
in Ham Lake. I mean, I spend that much just at the Costco liquor store at least once a month. I'm just kidding. That's not true.
It's not once a month. It's once every 2 weeks.
No,
I'm just kidding.
it's once a month.
Yeah. Well, and
I guess
if the apartments are done in the correct way, and again, I think it's really important for everybody to have heard that what you just said, as far as where they're not going to be low income. Like it's not our choice to do that.
nobody's putting in low income apartments. There's like if there was a low income apartment, they would have to come to the city and ask for tax incremental financing TIF dollars to offset the property taxes once the project is completed. And they take that money and reduce the rent for their, how TIF works, maybe?
Yeah.
TIF is super complicated.
Yep.
I mean, literally, it's super complicated. And there's like 5 different kinds of TIF. That's like just the normal TIF.
Yeah.
And there's redevelopment TIF.
There's
housing
crazy TIF.
TIF. Just
drunk
like
TIF.
pooled TIF.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
There's a TIF?
TIF? I think so.
That's
I think
incredible.
that's the one we just dialogued. That was TIF.
TIF, like
She's
the real
TIF.
TIF. She's all
Yeah.
tiffed up.
Tipped up, ready to rip.
That'll be another shirt.
No,
Up,
I don't
ready
think
to rip.
so. No, I'll show you the list sometime. It's pretty funny.
I can't wait. All right. So we talked about downtown Blaine.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I promise.
And timeline for that again?
So
You said it's like off and running, but like what does that mean
it
as
is.
far
So
as
some buildings have been demoed. We're demoing buildings. The city owns, I don't know, at least 60% of what's in there the city owns. Some of it we have to wait for tenants to leave. When we did purchase agreements, we allowed, like that rental scenario for 10 to 12 months, whatever. But they're going to start coming down. The big component of the project that I can't dialogue is slated to be completed by spring of 2025.
Okay.
So I would anticipate that you will see
Is that the dirt pile area?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would anticipate that you will see some announcements from the master developer in the city of Blaine. Hopefully not on Facebook. Dear staff at the city of Blaine, do not announce awesome things on Facebook. Let the professionals do that at the, Minneapolis Business Journal.
Right.
Yeah, like it has to be done like really well because this is a once in a lifetime project. We're never going to see something like this come to the city of Blaine again.
Yeah. We get one shot at it.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
It'll blow your mind. It'll blow your mind.
Yeah. So it's safe to say living in the city of Blaine is going to be quite a bit different in the next 4 to 5 years. With 65 being redone, with all these different amenities that we're talking about coming.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite a bit.
I think the habitual way that we operate day to day, it's going to change a little bit.
In a good way. I'm not saying
For
it's
sure.
going to change who we are. It's just there's going to be more for us to choose from.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, maybe less trips to, I don't know, Maple Grove or Roseville.
Correct. Which I love Maple Grove, and I want to be able to say I don't need to go there.
You know what? I do and I don't. One of the things that I don't like about Arbor Lakes is it's so stacked on top of each other, and it's really hard to navigate. I don't like it.
It
I
is.
don't like it.
Yeah, it is.
And so
But they have so many options, and that's
they do, but I think you can provide options without stacking it on top of each other. I hate navigating in there. I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, and I was about to say, well, gosh, they have a Benihana, but we technically have.
You do have a Benihana.
We have Umi. We
Yeah,
have Hibachi.
Yeah.
So I mean, we got it.
Sure.
That's the thing. Blaine has so many things that people just don't really realize.
Yeah.
So we talked about that. Let's talk about really quick.
Yeah.
Let's go to Northtown.
Hit me.
So my opinion of Northtown.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, and Northtown was obviously a cool little spot we could swing by. Because I grew up in Champlin. So Northtown was, whatever, just a little shopping mall. I think now it's just become why would I go to Northtown when I could go over to Rosedale or you know what, I'll drive to Maple Grove because it's got some more shopping and it's got more restaurants and whatever. So let's make a day of it versus let's pop down to Northtown for Chuck E. Cheese and then come back, right? So
Are you really going to Chuck E. Cheese?
Well, we did, but not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, the kids are a little too old for that now.
Okay. When
But
I was a kid, it was Circus Circus.
I love Circus.
Because that's how old I am.
Yeah. We used to go to Circus Circus in Brooklyn Park, though.
Oh, yeah, we've been to that one too.
That one was legit.
Yep, by Brookdale Mall.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they had the money grab box. Oh, my gosh.
Go.
Greatest.
Yeah.
Greatest
Snatch them
day.
bills, baby.
Yeah. So, but I know you guys are working hard to try to figure out Northtown and like, is the vision for it to remain like a shopping area? Is it we're trying to do other things down there? Like, tell us just a little bit about what you got cooking over there.
Yeah, I'll try to summarize it the best that I can. I agree with you. I spent a lot of my childhood at Northtown. Yeah. I really did. And I think part of the aversion that we have to any of these larger scale plans is that change is really scary. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes, too, when people see, again, here we brought in Damon Farber. They're the group that worked with Rosedale Mall to redesign the mall. And the concept at Rosedale was to turn the mall inside out. And they've done that. So that's why you see the exterior storefronts, kind of in the additional parking. They used parking space, parking like lot space, turn stores inside out, bring things out. And, then they started selling the outlots. Yep. Baldemar, Shake Shack.
Love Baltimore.
I know you do. I know. Big fan.
Shout out to Michael Simmons. Simmons. He is greatest GM of all time.
All right. So noted. So noted. I
Seriously,
also like that place.
You guys need to go to Baltimore if you haven't.
I have been there on multiple occasions, and I would agree with you. It's very, very good. I've never had anything that I didn't like.
Right.
Ever.
It's just like it's a fun vibe.
Yeah. I like it.
Would I want that in Blaine? Yes.
And I don't disagree with you, but then the question is, can Blaine support that?
Mm-hmm. That is like the second thing I hear from everybody.
So, and I'll tell you why. We'll put a pin in that, and we'll get back to Northtown.
It's on my list.
We'll get back to Northtown. So we went through a master development process. Now, this one was way more extensive than the one that we did for 105th.
Oh, yeah.
This one was probably about $100,000 that we spent with Damon Farber to put together this plan. It's like 80 pages. It is deep in the weeds into any and every demographic that exists. You want to know how many soccer moms go to Northtown Mall? It's in there. Literally, what vehicles they drive. The demographics are broken down to the surrounding area, home styles, the value, the whatever, and what the vision could look like based on what current market trends are. Now, you and I both know whether it's the housing market or the commercial market.
Right.
Trends change.
Absolutely.
But I don't think it's lost on us that the shopping experience has changed a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And, what does that look like? Now we're in the process where when that initially started, we had 7 different council members.
Yeah.
Now you have 7 different council members that we've asked to follow through on this plan, and that is difficult. Right. And I don't mean that in a negative way at all. It's just, I think
everybody has their own opinion.
When I got into council 5 years ago, there's 7 of us total. That's including the mayor. Mm-hmm. There was probably about 70 to 80 years of combined experience between the 7 electeds. Mm-hmm. Oops, sorry, I touched them. Damn it, that was the first time. It. What time is it?
So it's an hour 13 in and you hit it. That's actually pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Really good.
I'm really excited about that. About 70 to 80 years of combined experience. Right now, 7 people. 12 years of combined experience, Tyler, and I'm 5 of it.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy.
And so it's really kind of starting over. Not over, but in a way that we can make the new council members feel engaged.
Get a grasp on it.
Yeah, exactly, because it's a lot. And again, I spent all this time over the last few years knowing all these things.
Right.
Now I need everyone else to know these things. And they have to know them and learn them at their own pace, and whatever their comfort level is or isn't, that's for them to decide. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. So right now we're in a process where we are going through all the land use and zoning. And that's been going on for the last, my stars, 3 or 4 months or more, 6 months maybe. It takes a long time because that's 100 acres.
So when you say land use and zoning, you're trying to see if everything is zoned correctly?
Yep, and make changes where we can. So we put actually a development moratorium on Northtown so no one can come in there. Because I think right now you could probably put gas stations. You could probably put... This is kind of like the city's way of playing Sim City, right? Yeah. What do you want here?
Right.
If you, in your best case scenario, what is it that you want? More than likely it's not a gas station. Okay, council, let's wrap our head around that, and let's make sure that this isn't zoned for
5 more quick trips, please.
Hell yeah.
And a Cub.
Solid dozen. Let's go.
Why stop at 7?
Welcome to Blaine, home of a dozen quick trips.
You know what? That could be a tourist attraction.
Oh my God, please no.
The most quick trips.
The biggest ball of yarn.
Yeah, seriously.
It's just the most quick trips in a 34 square mile
Stop by and see the oldest quick trip in Blaine.
It's 4 years old. Because they all got here in like a second.
I love that you
It's like
just
we built
added
one
that.
and they all called their cousins and they all showed up.
Man.
So yeah, we're working on it, moratorium right now, just so that we can work through the process and get it right. Mall ownership changed also since we started the process. So that group is really interested in selling those outlots.
Outlots.
So if you look at an aerial of Northtown Mall, it literally is gray. It's all parking lots.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Nobody does.
No.
So one of the objectives that we had through the planning process was, how do we turn this gray green?
Yeah.
More parks. Why don't we use like the ditches, like the actual drainage ditches that run underneath into Springbrook? Why don't we bring them to the surface? Let's turn those inside out and make the water an amenity.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we are going through the process, and it's hard too because, you know, you could walk across the street and you're in Spring Lake Park. Then you walk across the university and you're in Coon Rapids.
Right.
And then you go, you know, the other way, too far to university, across by Red Lobster. Now
Yep.
you're in Fridley.
Right.
So it's something that's
Yeah.
complicated.
How does that work? So, like, Blaine obviously owns
The entire
most of
redevelopment
it, right?
area sits in Blaine.
In Blaine.
Yep. But when we dialogue like infrastructure needs, you can't navigate there on foot or bike. God, you can hardly navigate with a car.
It is very
It's
confusing.
bad.
I'm still confused. When I
I
get over
know.
there.
It's pretty bad. So that involves MnDOT. So that's the state. So if MnDOT comes in, you're going to need the support of Anoka County. You're going to need the support of Spring Lake Park and Fridley
Yeah.
and Coon Rapids. So it's working through all of it and prioritizing what do we want to see. Here's what we know we don't want.
Right. So you're just like freezing it, kind of like,
Kind of.
hey,
Yeah.
don't come in here and screw it up because
don't come in and tell me you want 15 car washes.
Right. Yeah. It's a great tax write-off.
Yeah, if you're laundering drug money.
I've just heard there's great benefits for
Who told
car
you that?
washes.
Walter White?
Yeah, probably.
Jesse Pinkman?
Bitch. Oh.
Oh no, should we open a car wash and call
We
it
should.
Pinkman's?
Yeah. I want to be clear. I wasn't calling Jess the B word there. That's Jesse Pinkman's go-to.
Okay, well, TBD on that.
If you've never watched that show, you should. But yeah, no, that's so okay. That's great information to know. Where do you see it going? Like, do you see it coming together anytime soon, or is it just like, the impossible task right now?
No, it was never a short-term project ever. That's a 25, 30-year project,
Yeah.
whereas 105th is like now to the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So it was never short-term. So it was never like, hey, we're going to magically do this all. Never going to happen. Because Northtown like is owned by one group, then Krause Anderson owns some property, then some other guys own property on the other side of County 10, and then another group owns this and another group owns that. So it's going to take time.
Okay.
Yeah. But I do want to state, just because there's confusion on this, the city of Blaine does not have control over tenants at Northtown Mall. Northtown Mall controls their tenants.
Like
It is
who
not
can
the city. Yeah.
come in there
Yeah.
as like a retail.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's actually for all tenants. The city of Blaine is not a landlord. Like
Yeah.
we don't. So when you see Lexi shops, like over off the nice new one where Jersey
Yep.
Mike's is, people saw Jersey Mike's and they were like, OMG. Like there's one right by the sports center.
You can't control that.
I can't control that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's America. People, if they want
What?
to, yeah, right.
OMG.
If they want to open up another store, they can.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Jersey
you
Mike's
know
is
that-
amazing. So
That Jersey Mike's in particular, that one is the highest in the region for sales.
really,
Yeah, so every time they do these, and they're awesome with the community. They are so great. They moved here to be near that store. So they do tons of
Really?
fundraising for Centennial. Yeah, for like their athletic programs. Like when they do the, I think it's the Special Olympics that they do a thing for once a year. They're like the highest store in the region.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And they're so lovely. They are so, just a lovely family. They're
Yeah.
so sweet. Oh my gosh. But there's always a story behind the things that people want to complain about that they just don't know.
Right.
And that's why, again, conversations like this are important. People just reaching out. I do not sit on a throne
Yeah.
somewhere. I am super approachable. You want to have coffee? I would love to have coffee with you.
Yeah.
Send me emails, call me. Like, I am always happy to answer these questions. I mean, I would hope and ask that there's some level of like, I
Yeah.
don't know, some kind of
Just respect.
respect.
Yeah.
And that's okay if we don't agree. I'm fine with that. But at least, ask the question to a real human and not
Right.
a computer.
Yeah. Well, no shocker, but you were elected by the public to serve the public,
Yeah.
right? So, obviously you're going to listen to what they have to say. And
Of course.
you may not agree, but you have lots of knowledge as to why, right? I think me or my wife that doesn't understand how long of a project Northtown should take.
Yeah.
On the outside looking in, we're like, well, just get it done. You know, but now when you talk about all the moving parts, it's like, oh yeah. And like, I think I could figure that out to a certain extent, but like to hear it coming from you who has been researching this for 5 years and working on it is impactful. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. Well, I mean, you can do things or you can do things right.
Right.
And I think we're in a time as a city where we have to do things
you have to do right.
We can't do the easy things. Now we've already done the easy things. Now we're into, oh, damn, this might hurt a little bit. Might hurt a little bit and it might take some time, but it takes time to get things right. I can't just, sign a decree and, I declare today we're going to have a Shields. It doesn't work that way.
Oh, she brought up the Shields, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, boy.
Well, I have a good segue for that.
Have it.
Mike Raymond on Facebook.
Mike Raymond?
He said, how come we don't have a Shields with the region's largest soccer complex and ice arena?
Mike Raymond, I agree with that sentiment. I will tell you, part of the genesis behind the video, the marketing video that we put together was to attract Shields.
You've been talking to me about Shields for a while.
I have been talking to you about Shields for a long time. I will talk to anybody and everybody about Shields. I swear.
That's another shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, Shields are...
Let's talk about Shields.
Let's talk about Shields, baby.
There you go.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I'm shameless. In respectfully, I'll give you an example. I'm at a wedding for my cousin, and my family thinks that me doing this elected business is hysterical. So they always want to talk to me about it, and they're like, "Hey, like, what are you working on? What's going on in Blaine?" Because my cousin went to Blaine High School. I was like, "I really want a Shields. That'd be awesome. Let me tell you something." Okay, my cousin's husband, his college roommate, is now married to the CFO of Shields. And I was like, sir, here's what I need from you. Like, and if you think I'm kidding, I'm absolutely not. And I
don't think you're kidding.
Legit got an email from the CFO's husband, and he was like, hey, yeah, Sean and I went to college together. He said you're trying to get in touch with Michelle. Like, here's her contact information. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. So then I wrote like the longest email. Obviously included the video, but I mean, I probably had like 10 different people read this email before I sent it. Because here's another thing where it's a one
shot.
I get one chance to introduce the city of Blaine to Shields.
One shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted.
Ever written.
Was it really?
Email was money. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Was there highlights and bolding and bullet points, or was it just one big long blob?
No. Good grammar is a requirement.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And formatting,
punctuation.
Yes.
And they actually did respond. They're familiar with Blaine. I will say it's Mike, right?
Mike, yep. Mr. I believe I know Mike from FXB.
Oh, all right.
Kickboxing gym.
Nice. One of the things that, and this is from Shields, this is not me speculating, is Shields is a destination store. And so Shields' business model, in their opinion, Blaine is too close to their Eden Prairie store. Now, I disagree.
Yeah.
And I told them that I disagree.
I ain't driving down to Eden Prairie for Shields.
And I'm not driving to St. Cloud. Do you know I didn't even know Shields existed until my kids went to college in Fargo?
I didn't know until I went to St. John's College by St. Cloud.
Sure.
And then I walk into the mall.
I'm like, what is this magic place?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
Ferris wheels, freaking candy stores, like everything.
Yeah.
I love that store. And I have learned through the course of having conversations that I'm not an expert in this, but I'm trying to be.
Yeah. That
human connection that we keep talking about, I do as much research on said individual as I can. So when I sent that email, I was like, hey, Michelle, I'm a Bison mom because my kids go to NDSU. They're located at NDSU. They're involved in some charities that support NDSU. Shields Stadium is outside my kid's apartment window.
Yeah.
So I was like, I worked in like all the things.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. But it's about building relationships, right? So Shields is never going to say yes or no to you on the first time you connect with them.
Right.
They will. Eventually, until I get put on like a Homeland Security list or something. But every year we invite them to the 3M Open. They actually did participate in the 3M Open this year. The PGA Wives did an event at Shields in Eden Prairie.
Awesome.
They're aware of Blaine. We've done things like We've sent them like VIP baskets where I'm not kidding you, like the Olympic curling rink will donate like $500 of curling for them to come.
Yeah.
Like we've had Invictus donate stuff, restaurants donate stuff, the 3M donated stuff.
Yeah.
And then we put like the tickets for the 3M Open and the tent passes
Yeah.
in this basket and I FedEx it to their office.
Yes.
I'm not playing.
You're working. You're
not
working
playing.
it.
Like
Mike Raymond, she's working for it.
I really am trying. And just like how residents don't like hearing no, I don't either. I don't either.
I just find it so interesting that if I am Shields and there is a national sports center with a U.S. Cup,
Yeah.
like some of the stuff I just don't understand it. Like, are they just worried that it's like just a flash in the pan for like only a few weeks, so that it's like, well, there's not enough traffic?
No, I don't think so. I think Shields has, and I'm sure Trader Joe's came up in your question town there.
Mm-hmm. Question town.
Yeah.
It is a question city over here.
Shields and Trader Joe's specifically both have very meticulous metrics, and they do not stray from them. And part of the reason those businesses have lasted and stood the test of time and continue to grow is they do not stray from those metrics. Now, who am I to tell you to stray from your metrics? I'm still going to try.
Yep.
Which is why, again, we, set forth marketing plans that break stereotypes, narratives. Listen, I know on paper, Blaine is not impressive, but let me tell you what is.
Yeah.
We have 7.5 million visitors coming through our city every single year. Sports families. Your business is sports centric. I'll tell you, like, we're still trying. I cannot tell you. I emailed the, I don't know if he's the CEO, the guy from Vista Outdoors. I literally sent that guy an email and I was like, hey, I think his name is Jason. I was like, hey, Jason, Councilmember Robertson with the City of Blaine, listen, love Vista, love what they're doing with all the brand acquisition, Bushnell, Camelback, all the things. I listed all of them. I was like, I have a really great idea for you. We have this beautiful redevelopment area, super sports centric, right in the heart of our city. I throw all the stats at him. I'm like, what if you took all of your brands that are the non-ammunition brands and put them into one retail store? Let's just literally call it Vista Outdoors.
Yeah.
He's like, OMG, that's a super great idea. He's like, we're just, there was so, at the time, and I'm sure it still is. I mean, gosh, they just sold their ammunition for what, $1.8 billion to like a Czech company. But he's like, yeah, the timing's not right. He's like, but I love this idea. I'm so glad you reached out. But if I don't ask, if I don't try, then you instant fail.
Absolutely.
You instant fail if you don't try.
Yep.
Trust me, I try.
I
cold call everybody. The CEO of Punch Pizza. Beep, boop, boop. Hey, I found your number. I think, oh, this is you. Like, I cold called him. I'm like, hey, my name is Jess. I'm a council member, City of Blaine. Love Punch Pizza. Love for you to come up here. What can I do to make that happen? Like, I have zero shame. Zero.
Yeah. I love Punch Pizza as well. What do you say?
I called. That was during COVID. That was probably...
Not great timing.
No, but he really appreciated that I called. He's like, no one in these other cities, especially Minneapolis, is calling me.
Yeah.
While I'm closing my store. They want to. We did dialogue about putting him in the pipeline. I'm not going to make any promises. Sure. I wouldn't be surprised. I would reconnect with him again about like the HJ development project. That's the Lexington 125th.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a great place for a Punch Pizza.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we will. It's timing, and now too. Just
but it's planting seeds. You're planting seeds.
It's building relationships, Tyler. It's not even. It's not
all
even
about
building
that.
seeds. It's all about relationships. I can't just kick in someone's door and say, "Freaking do this" because I want it.
Right.
No, you have to set the stage. You have to lay a foundation. You have to build that relationship, and when the time is right. Like, even if someone says to me, kind of like a soft no, I'm like, do me a favor, keep me in your pipeline.
Yeah.
If you have a sudden growth burst, like, just keep Blaine in your pipeline. I am telling you, I will prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Because this city can sustain and support your business.
Absolutely. Can.
Yeah.
I say that to resident or people looking all the time to buy a home. I'm like, you guys, you don't understand what you're missing. Like, there's so much here.
Yeah.
And there's so much to do. But just on paper, like you said, for whatever reason, it's not that impressive.
No, it's not. And I don't mean that I don't love the city. Just when you are trying to attract, like, Trader Joe's, for instance, it's not there.
Right.
It's just not.
Okay, I got like 5 questions on this one.
Okay.
Why did Blaine vote down a community center? Seems like a constant question that I get asked.
I hear community center a lot. So I was not on council when that was voted down. Now, I want to be super clear. It wasn't Blaine Council that voted down the community center. The voters.
The community voted it down.
The community center. Now, from what I can tell you, and again, I was not on council at the time, but just being a resident and why I didn't vote for it isn't because I hate kids or I hate families or I don't want things for our kids to do like the Eagle's Nest or like Mounds View or New Brighton or whatever. I think those things are great, but how do they get paid for? And that, for me, as just a voting resident, that was my question. And the plan that was proposed wasn't great. It was super expensive.
I remember there was a lot of heat about just like,
it
wasn't well done for some reason.
No, the language was horrible. And they had like a whole task force, and I was not on that task force. They had like a whole...
Who prepared the plan?
They had there was a community center like task force that...
Like from like the Y or the city?
Well, I think the Y at the time was like the maybe partner. Because again, you have
That's
to
right.
remember,
I do remember that. It was like not for sure.
Yeah. So obviously this was 8 years ago probably was the last time we saw it on the ballot.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. We had a group come to workshop to pitch us an idea for a community center / sporting thing on steroids. Like, beautiful. Oh my gosh, it would be awesome. Do you want to know how much it cost?
How much?
$61 million.
That's it?
But they wanted the city to help pay for it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. I don't have issues with community centers. I do think what you will see play out through the Northtown process and the completion of the 105th development project, you are going to see community amenities that serve similar functions without being a community center. Shoreview has the Eagle's Nest. It's beautiful, right? Yep. Water parks suck. They're super, super, super expensive, and they're terrible to maintain.
Yeah.
Every year when the city of Shoreview puts together their budget, guess what line item in the budget needs more tax dollars every single year because it's never in the black ever.
Right. The water park.
It's the community center.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm not saying there's not a place for it. If we got some kind of proposal that really showed a true private partnership, something that wouldn't cost residents $100 for your family. If you're going to pay $100 to be a part of a community center that you're paying for, my God, just don't pay for a community center and go to Lifetime Fitness. Like, $100 is a lot.
Yeah.
Now, we did do some noodling around in what other communities do. So the city of St. Michael has a true community center that was attached to their high school. Now, it's not like jumbo fancy gazillion dollars, but it certainly it serves the function. And again, community center means different things to different people. Do you want a pool?
That's what I think of.
Is it?
When I hear community center, I think of a pool.
Well, and that's good feedback. Like, what does that mean?
I hear pool. I think that's what most people are complaining about, I would guess. I don't know. What else do they do? A workout room, a couple gyms?
Birthday party rooms? But again, I don't know. More gym space?
You go to Urban Air with Brandy Gilbert if you want a party room. Okay?
But again, this is, I think, part of the conversation that needs to go beyond just like, I want this. What does that mean to you? Yeah. And I'm not being condescending in asking that. I'm meaning, like, honestly, what does that mean to you? Yeah. Because I'm old, so community center means something different to me than it might mean to people that have younger families. I don't have little nugget kids that,
Like the Maple Grove one, I've been there. Do they have a pool, right?
No, they have an ice rink.
Yeah, I don't think, because theirs is like, I just remember bringing my kids to that big play place they had.
We should do field trips.
They might have a pool in the basement.
Maybe.
I don't know. But that's what I think. When I think of community centers, I think of pools.
Okay.
That's me. So I don't know.
Yeah.
No one like specified.
There wasn't
they were
a good
just
plan.
Asking.
There wasn't a good plan. It would literally cost families more money to use it than just a typical membership at a gym. I mean, even the city of Andover struggles to make those ends meet, and it just continually costs taxpayer dollars.
Because Andover doesn't have a pool, do they?
Is there a pool?
I think it's just
it's
ice
hockey,
rinks.
volleyball, workout area, like walking track.
Maybe there's a pool. I don't know.
I think there is a pool.
Maybe there's a pool.
I think there is a pool. But again,
I feel like if you don't have the pool, we're not doing it. Like in my opinion, because everything else that you just mentioned, we have them. We have hockey rinks. We have.
What if pool is part of your value system as it relates to community centers? What if I were to tell you, and I'm being hypothetical, there's a hotel that would put in a water park.
Absolutely.
Now the city doesn't have to pay for it, and you just have to pay to use it.
Yeah.
It's not your taxpayer dollars. Because part of the challenge, too, and the responsibility that we have as elected people is it's not just the fun things that the city does that we need to manage. It's the not fun things. Like, fun fact, did you know, take a guess how much you think it costs to paint a water tower?
To paint a water tower?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, just throw something out there.
$100,000.
$1 million.
Oh my God.
Now, take a ballpark guess how much it would cost to make infrastructure repairs to a lift station. That's regarding like sewer infrastructure.
Yeah.
Just take a guess.
Just
how much
just maintenance, like upkeep.
Yeah.
I don't know, $50,000.
$10 million.
What?
Yeah, Tyler, this is what I'm saying. So
Horrible guesses on my part.
I know,
I'll just
horrible
say.
guesses, but that's why
I don't know enough about. Yeah.
But
like,
that's why I ask, 'cause I don't think there's an understanding. Like, pop quiz, how much does a plow truck cost?
like just one truck.
One truck.
To like just buy it.
One truck to buy one.
One of those big ass ones. 200,000.
$500,000.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
But what do you want more than anything in the winter? Do you want clean streets? You want me to
Absolutely.
clean your sidewalks and
Absolutely.
lakes so you can like walk all over and do like
Use
your
my golf
fancy
cart.
athletic with chains on the tires in the winter? Like
You
a
know I
true
would.
Winter
You
baller.
know I
My
would.
God, honk honk, Christmas lights dangling, Santa suit.
I'll be pulling
Sup,
kids with
kids?
the little
OMG,
sled.
I love
Yeah.
it. But I mean, that's the reality of the totality of our jobs.
Yeah.
Would I love to give you a community center? Absolutely. But at the core of my responsibility to the
Yeah.
general public is water, sewer,
Right.
infrastructure, roads,
The not sexy
typical
stuff.
maintenance, public safety. Like
Right.
those are our fundamental responsibilities. So in my mind, I'm like, how can I be the best gatekeeper of taxpayer dollars? How do I do that?
Yeah.
I hear what you want, but I'm telling you, $60 million for a community center, if that were the case, like then what lift station do I not repair? What
Right.
water infrastructure or well maintenance do I
Or
not?
how much you have to tax everyone.
Well, that's just it, because then your levy goes up.
Right. And like I can appreciate that. And honestly, I could be totally off base, but I feel like if a hotel was able to put in a pool and people could go pay to use it or like a
Sure.
water park or something,
Yeah, they just suck. They're so expensive.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know anything
Yeah.
else about it. I'm just saying from a selfish,
Sure.
family, young kids
It's not
perspective.
selfish, Tyler.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'd pay money to go
Yeah.
to that. I mean, during the winter, winter is brutal
Yeah,
in Minnesota.
I love winter, though, so I'm a weirdo.
See, and I like winter, but I don't love it as much as other people. Where like,
Okay.
Hey, let's go out and cross country ski
You
or
wanna
go
build
for
a snowman?
right. I'll do it for like 30 minutes on like Camp
Yeah.
Frozen.
Yeah.
And like I live on a lake too. I could go ice fishing and do a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. It's just for me. It's like I'd love to go do something with the kids where I don't have to go to another city.
Yeah, or clean up the mess.
Like, hey, let's drive to Elk
Or-
River and
yeah.
use their water park.
Sure. No, I get it. And
Like-
those, I think, are conversations that we can have as we go through the planning processes for these redevelopment areas. And again, when someone says, I want a community center, what does that mean?
Hmm. No, it's a great question.
Because YMCA during COVID it closed
Yeah.
and they bailed. So you know who had to take on that responsibility? The city of Lino Lakes.
Mm-hmm.
And that means more staff,
Yep.
maintenance, and like all that. And now
just
that's the
losing
city's
money on it.
responsibility. And again, everything the city does, it's residents.
I'm gonna ask that
Y'all's
question
dollars.
later on
y'all's
social
money.
media because I do want to know what people.
No, I
what-
think it's a
'cause
great
It's
question.
a fantastic question.
Yeah, and I mean that genuinely.
No.
I'm not trying to be catty or rude. I
No.
literally, what does that mean to you?
Yep, I think that's a fantastic
All
question.
right.
Let's see here. Dan, who is a insurance guy, his name's Dan Baccia.
Okay.
He said, "I'm curious about the plans for the hockey rink at the Jim Peterson Athletic Complex
let's go.
behind North Point."
I like it. So there is plans. I should say there are plans. Grammar.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
I saw your face. You
did
heard it.
I heard. Oh, I heard it.
You heard it.
immediately. Yeah.
OMG.
Did I have
That's
the
me.
face?
You're like my Siri autocorrect.
I was like, "This is who's doing our
Yeah.
council."
Oh my God, we
my
elected this
God.
lady.
Yeah,
and
what
she
the-
said is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there are plans in place. We're going to be shifting some rinks from one park location to Jim Peterson. Ideally, there'll be two rinks there, a general open skating rink and then a hockey rink.
Okay.
Weather permitting, because again, last year was hard because
Yeah.
weather didn't come till like late.
And then it stayed
Actually, was that-
forever.
Yeah, it was last year. And then also all the boards for the hockey, like the infrastructure, I guess you could call it, like all has to be special ordered.
Yeah.
And it all comes from like there's like one dude that does it.
Really?
Yeah, he does the boards for like the U of M and like some other outdoor rinks and cities. So yes, ultimately, yes, there will be two. Dan, the insurance man, there will be
Dan,
two.
the insurance man.
We made a significant investment into lighting, so lighting will be in place, and they will be located kind of in the outfield of the ball field, the current ball field, soccer area.
The ball field's staying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We're just adding on.
Oh, just using the facility for multiple
You know, I've literally never been to that park ever.
Oh, really?
Which is so interesting to me, like with
take my
just
dog there.
sports and like just I thought we would be like summoned there for a baseball game.
Yeah, like
one
what
time
league is it that gets
I don't
to be
know.
here? Yeah, that's a good question.
Like I'm very honestly,
I
I'm
don't
very
know.
curious about it because
We
it's
never
right
played
down
there.
the street, and I've never got a chance to
Yeah.
bring my kids there.
So yeah, Jim, they are coming. We have
Dan,
Oh yeah, sorry, Dan.
Jim
Peterson.
Jim
is the park.
Peterson's the park.
Do you want to guess how many outdoor ice rinks the city of Blaine has? I'll pop
Outdoor
quiz you.
ice rinks?
Yeah.
Oh boy, 15,
12.
12.
That's it. Just
close.
about a dozen. And
So-
do you want to guess how many indoor sheets of ice we have?
Well, I know we have at least 8,
There you go.
9, 10,
We got about a dozen.
10. I was gonna say 10 to
A
12.
dozen, yeah. It's a Fogarty.
Um,
And Centennial High School.
is that counted?
Yeah, it's indoor sheets of ice. Yeah, Centennial
in
High School
Blaine?
in Blaine.
Is it?
Yes. Yeah, on Sunset and what is that?
Dude, Blaine's so
103rd?
big, it's crazy.
34 square miles. It's nuts.
I thought it might be Circle Pines.
No.
Okay, good to know. What was I? I lost my train of thought. The train's left the station. We'll just keep going.
Okay.
All right. Tony Zwart.
Okay.
He's concerned about the support of law enforcement. Okay. So I'll just read this. He said, "Where is she or the council on supporting our law enforcement department? Are we increasing the safety budget, supporting innovation and training, identifying mental health resources, or he's concerned we're maybe following others down the defund path with other ideas to solve/deter crime?"
Yeah, that's a super good question, and I'm glad he asked it.
Deep question.
It's a super relevant question.
Mm-hmm.
Again, kind of going back to that political volatility. Things that aren't political are becoming political.
Right.
And it's so gross.
Yeah.
Law enforcement should not be political.
Yeah.
As far as Blaine PD, we absolutely love Blaine PD. Council staff, this community has embraced our law enforcement department, and they are excellent. We have the best men and women. Fun fact, Blaine PD is one of the only fully staffed law enforcement agencies in the state of Minnesota. If you read the Star Tribune, I don't know if you do, I'm aware, like I said, I read all that stuff.
Yeah, I try to stay away from like any news.
It's just because I want to know what's
But you
happening
need
in
to.
other communities.
Yeah.
There was an article about the Minneapolis Police Department swearing in new officers. They had just gone through, police training and whatever, and one dropped out and came to Blaine.
Really?
Yeah, this happens a lot.
Okay.
So I cannot tell you enough the immense gratitude that I have for the leadership at Blaine PD.
Right.
They're excellent. In regards to his question about training and things like that, Blaine PD, Safety Services, and Public Works are the 2 largest line items in our budget. Like if there was a pie,
Is that common?
they suck up most of the pie. For a community this large, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, it has to be. You have 72,000 people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it almost has to be.
Yeah. I just didn't know if like maybe we're spending more on the police department and stuff versus like maybe other cities and stuff like that.
I mean, we pay better.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not because we're paying better because we're trying to lure them away. I
Yeah.
mean, you're being asked to serve
They got
a
more to
fairly
patrol.
large community. We want Blaine PD to have all the tools that they need from us reasonably. Now, if they ask me for like a Black Hawk helicopter, I'm probably going to be
Or a
like,
Batmobile or something.
can you like show me how that could be used? But
I don't know. Police Chief Bodani could probably figure out.
Bodani?
He
No,
could
he
probably
would never
figure
ask.
out a way to
He's-
get a Batmobile.
No, he's the nicest man.
He is.
The community is so fortunate to have that man leading the police department and for the officers that are literally being our everyday heroes. They are the best. I cannot tell you. When I told you my soft spot was for grandmas and grandpas, it is. And it's subsequent to that is law enforcement and military because they are outstanding human beings. And their job sucks because they have to be perfect 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Perfection is all that is expected from them, and they're human beings.
Right.
There is no defund the police. I won't have that.
Yeah.
I have said many times you would have to come through me to get to that police department. It just is not going to happen.
It's great to hear.
We love Blaine PD. We super do.
I agree with you 100%.
And what was the other question? Training?
Like training, identifying mental health resources.
Great questions. We have a couple of captains that have written additional training materials like de-escalation training, situational training. They just did a drill last month, active shooter training. Unfortunately, the active shooter training drill was taking place at Blaine High School because this is the crap world that we live in now. But yes, always. We have a designated mental health person. She's excellent. So yes, that is something that is very, very evident to what our community's needs are. I mean, I'm sure you're aware in the last few years, the suicide rate against young people has just been devastating. And as a parent, it breaks my heart that kids hurt like that and they don't feel like they have a place. My middle kiddo, literally by the time she was 17, had been to more funerals than I had been to in my whole life.
Jeez.
And it's just, it's horrible. So the police department also has a really great community engagement program. We just actually unveiled a community engagement trailer that they're going to be taking around anywhere in the city. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw it at the Lakes Beach, any of the parks, community events. Yeah. They are all in with this community, whether they live here or not. We have a lot of homegrown officers that went to Blaine High School, officers that went through our Police Explorers program, officers that are, they live here, they've raised their families here. So it's everything. Yeah, we're super grateful.
Yeah. And I've, as a community resident, I always feel like there's plenty on staff. I don't ever feel unsafe. During COVID, there was some dicey moments at the Lakes Beach, but that got solved very quickly.
Yeah, y'all got some crazies up in there.
Yeah, well, that was people coming
kids,
from,
isn't it?
It was all the kids, and they were coming from other cities because
because all the beaches were closed.
There was no security there.
I know,
right? But we fixed it. But that was wild. Some of those videos.
Yeah, that was messed up.
But well, Tony, I hope you.
I hope that suffices, Tony. And that's a great question. And I'm assuming the tone of your question is that you have much love and support for law enforcement.
Absolutely.
And so for that, thank you. And I would even go as far to say share that with Blaine PD. Honestly, stop and leave them some donuts, or they call them crime-fighting biscuits.
Do they?
Yeah, that's what Chief Panani calls them. But I mean, they love that. Engage with them. They absolutely love it. It's so appreciated. Even a card, a note, a post on the Facebook page, that means the world to those guys and gals. They're so excellent. So thank you for loving our Blaine PD. We appreciate that.
That's awesome. My buddy Taylor Kilty asks, how does she put up with you?
That is by the grace of God. No, I'm just kidding.
Best question that I had to ask was, well, how does Jess put up with Tyler? I have no idea.
Just in the professional world, right? We all have to deal with people that aren't exactly us. Quite honestly, God help us if there was more of Jess Robertsons in the world, because I'm a lot.
Yeah.
I'm a lot. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Just, everyone's different. I tell my kids every year on their birthday, I write them these really sentimental Facebook posts. And, I always remind them every year, you are one of 7 billion people. One of 7 billion that currently walks the earth. God created just one you. And I think sometimes when you realize that there is only just one me, I can't make demands on the world or the people around me to agree with me, and I have to reciprocate that. Yep. So, I mean, listen, whether we agree 100% of the time or not, it doesn't matter to me. My threshold is usually a hard stop at someone being just a straight up a-hole is a hard stop for me. Give me all the crazies. It's fine. I can, whatever it is, I'm all for it. Agreements, disagreements, likes, dislikes, but I stop shy of investing additional time when someone just straight up shows me that they're an asshat.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I call those people.
I have no patience for that.
I like the word fuckface.
Oh, stars. Okay.
Yeah.
You went a little farther than I did.
I did, but that's a great term you guys should all think about using.
No, no. Don't encourage cussing.
You said ass hat. Just because ass is a donkey doesn't make it okay.
Fine. I will say, I just told someone this the other day. If you want to know who someone is, they'll show you.
Oh, for sure.
And if I had ever thought for 2 seconds that you were, a D-bag.
An F face?
I wouldn't be sitting here.
Well, I appreciate you putting up with me. Let's see here. Can we get a Trader Joe's on 109th and Lexington?
I would love to put a Trader Joe's on 109th and Lexington. Do you want me to get into this? because I will do it. Like,
I
I've been
mean, Trader
trying to get to
Joe's.
Trader Joe's, similar to Shields.
Yeah.
I know who the broker is for Trader Joe's. I know his name.
Yeah.
I know where he lives. Okay, I like went so far as to try to piece together who his like network is in the development community to see if like it's someone that I've already connected with or what have you.
Yeah.
Trader Joe's is one that does not stray from metrics. I will use fake numbers, okay, but I have a spreadsheet. I'm happy to send it to you if you want to ever look at it. I should just post it online.
You should. Throw it out there.
It's a breakdown of what their metrics are and how
When you say
Blaine-
metrics, you're
so
saying
it's
like what it takes to get them to
units.
come to a community.
It's units, household income, medium density, or median household income, like all these things. And they break it down into 1, 5, and 10 mile radius. So the spreadsheet that I have shows where the city of Blaine is compared to where Trader Joe's locations are. So Maple Grove, Woodbury, St. Paul. I know there's one in Shoreview, but that one I don't think had been open yet when this demo sheet came out. But it's like not comparable.
Yeah.
It's like a quarter of the density. Now listen, this is again the choice that residents have to make. If you want a Trader Joe's, I would love to try to get you one, but it comes with a price tag, and the price
Apartments.
tag is density.
Yep.
And I don't want that because I'm not particularly fond of apartments.
Yep.
I don't want that. But I want you to have a Trader Joe's. I love Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
So again,
Is
here's
Lenz and
where-
Byerly's in the same
No.
realm? Like they don't
No.
necessarily go by the metric part?
I know what you're trying to ask me because you want to know who's going up on that.
No,
spot.
I'm literally just
I don't know.
curious.
Lenz and Byerly's have not been sniffing around the city of Blaine for probably about 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
They haven't been around for a while.
But they don't have that set criteria like Trader Joe's.
Everyone does. I would assume Lenz and Byerly's probably falls more into the dollar amount category than it does the density
Gotcha.
categories, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Because their typical customer isn't going to be someone that's sharing an apartment and paying $500 for rent.
Right.
Or whatever it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I would assume that
Okay.
would be somewhat accurate.
Okay. I put those two in a similar category. Maybe I'm off, but like Trader Joe's and Lenz and Byerly's.
No, have you ever shopped at Trader Joe's?
I've been in there many times, yeah.
Dude, Trader Joe's is the bomb. I love that place. My
Yeah,
college
what they got?
students
What
love
is
that
it?
place.
The wine or
$2 chuck?
$2 chuck. Yeah,
Let's go.
Yeah.
It's $2.99 though.
Is it
I
now?
suppose it's still kind of $2 chuck.
it's like $2.99 chuck. It's close.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, regardless of being told no because of metrics, it doesn't mean that I won't stop asking.
Yeah,
I am literally one of the agenda items on our super development squad meeting tomorrow is what's our marketing plan for Trader Joe's.
Joanna Mickelson. You hear that?
Yes.
Never
and
know.
it may at some point in time involve the community. I don't know if you've seen, I've done it a couple of times on that, you're from Blaine Facebook page
Yeah.
where I'm like, hey, I need you guys to post this and get people to fill out that form because Trader Joe's has a form.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it would have to be a massive campaign. So I have to get super strategic. I got to get into like my crazy vision space. Like, what does this look like? How
Right.
do I do it? And then I have to do it. But I
You need
hear
someone to
no, but I don't
skate.
hear no.
You need someone to skate at like halftime of each hockey game, or not halftime, but in the periods. Ooh, on the Zamboni with a QR code and it says scan to bring Trader Joe's to Blaine, and then we have to fill out the form.
Literally, my plan is the site that I want them to go on after the first snow. I was going to go out there with snowshoes and draw like a Trader Joe's store and put a GIS pin on it, like with snowshoes on, and then send a drone up to take a picture of it
Yeah.
and like just go nuts. Like, I mean, I have tried to think of like every nutty idea that I possibly can, because I hate hearing no too. Again,
Yeah.
we live here too.
Yeah, you
Council
want it.
lives here too, so I want those things. But there is reasons why we don't have them, and it's not because council's incompetent,
Right.
or we don't know what we're doing, or we're doing it wrong. It's not any of those reasons.
Right.
End of story.
Yeah. I mean,
Period. Boo.
Mike, don't drop the mic
Nope,
though.
I won't.
Don't drop my super
All I have to
sensitive
do is touch
mics.
the table
All right,
and
here,
it'll
let's
sound like
let's
a-
do it one time. So everybody, I'm
Yeah.
sure, just heard this vibration. In the room, you can barely hear it.
Yeah.
but, all right. Let's see. Let's be cognizant of time here. I want to make sure we're not
For the
keeping you
longest
forever.
podcast ever.
Well, I told you it might be a two-parter.
That's all right. Let's two-part it up.
Let's see. And we kind of talked about that one. I might come back to that one.
Okay.
We talked about that one. footbridges over 105th between the soccer fields near Davenport and another across 105th between other fields across from Invictus. The traffic circles did little to help congestion during soccer season, and even with the police helping, this road still puts people at risk. I'd further suggest another footbridge south of 105th crossing Davenport. I have seen similar footbridges in Champlin, Maple Grove, Eden Prairie, etc., and they're heavily used. That's from Zach Lancaster, who I also met through FXB.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Making
just
friends.
kicking butt while
Making
kickboxing.
friends.
Yeah.
I like it. The original redesign of 105th, they did dialogue putting in pedestrian tunnels.
I remember seeing those.
105th. Part of the challenge that we have just in general here is our water table is very high.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was impossible to put tunnels under. And quite honestly, water infrastructure becomes a challenge as we do development because now you need to bring all that water to the surface and have functioning storm ponds and drainage. Like, it's crazy town. One of the design concepts that I've seen in the last, 6 months did have a pedestrian bridge over 105th, almost right near Invictus, because there'll be public parking ramps in there and some other things that would allow that. I can't envision right now us putting one in on the Davenport, kind of that west side of 105th.
So
I know what he's talking about.
As a citizen, again, I don't understand all this type of stuff, but like to me, in my mind, I'm just like, how hard is it to throw up a frickin' little walk bridge over 105th?
Yeah.
Like, why is that a problem?
Well, A, it's super expensive, and B, like there are some infrastructure challenges. Like it's not easy to do.
Like just like a little walking bridge, just a little like iron, whatever.
Little iron.
Like,
and who takes care of it?
I don't know. Maybe.
And then who like clears the snow off, and then who insures it, who maintains it, who? I mean,
who
those
would,
are
who
other
would normally
questions.
have done that?
But the
Who would have maintained the one that went underground?
That's a good question. I'm not sure because I'm
Okay.
not sure if that would be the NSC.
Yeah.
105th is one of the random roads that the city of Blaine actually owns.
Let me ask this.
Yeah.
If somebody gets hit crossing the road there during the USA Cup,
Okay.
is the NSC liable at all?
No.
No?
Why do you live in a sad world? I don't believe so. I would be speculating. I'm not an attorney.
Yeah, I'm just
I would
asking.
be speculating. I don't know.
The reason I'm asking that question is, would it behoove them to put some walking bridges
We
in?
have talked about it, but
Yeah.
I mean, again, I saw one on a drawing,
Yeah.
and
Well,
it's
I
connected to other infrastructure.
I saw that one too, and I would imagine they'll do that one. That'd be
I don't know.
a good
Maybe
idea.
they'll do more, but I'm being like super vague because I can't dialogue the other part of the property,
Right.
And
I know.
what's going to happen there.
I know.
So
I would,
Yes-ish?
Zach, here's what I'll say. I would assume there will be some form of more safe walking
yeah,
over there.
ped safety is going to have to be
Like,
identified.
with all the stuff that's coming, I would be really surprised. I just don't know if they'll throw them like over the roundabouts and stuff because
Right.
that's,
And now we're asking people to stay, and now we're encouraging more people to come. So we have to be cognizant of additional foot traffic
Right.
and what that looks like and what those travel patterns might look like and what we can put in place to encourage pedestrian safety.
Yeah.
Obviously, we want people to be safe. I mean, predominantly the demographic is kids. We don't
Yeah.
want something happening to a kiddo or, somebody's family. So, yeah.
I like the roundabouts, personally.
Yeah. Do you know it's nearly statistically impossible to have a fatal vehicle accident in
With a roundabout?
Yeah.
That's why I like.
'Cause you
I
can't
love them.
T-bone anybody.
And I don't. A lot of people don't like roundabouts. They don't bother me.
I don't think it's that people don't like roundabouts. They don't like change.
They don't like to slow down.
Well, there's also that. But do you know where Blaine PD isn't giving out tickets?
105th. Yep. No, you're probably right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I agree with this.
Yeah.
Just this premise of like, we did this stuff. Why didn't we do like? I
Yeah.
totally get the question, but it's good to hear why.
Yeah.
You make valid points. Who would take care of it? Who's insuring it? All that stuff. Because again, we know that the general public doesn't want to just up their taxes to pay for a walking
And
bridge.
that's the thing. I'll give you all the things you want, but it's going to cost you money.
Mm-hmm.
In a time where home values are high, the county
Taxes.
assesses your home value. We should probably. The city of Blaine does not assess the value of people's homes. That
Oh,
is done
who does?
by Anoka County.
Okay. So don't complain to the city of
No,
Blaine.
when I hear like home values went up a lot, like, okay, I'm sorry, mine did too. I don't assess home value. The city does not do that. The county does. They have a whole assessing
Yeah, if
team.
you look at the top of the thing that comes in the mail, it does say Anoka County.
It does, but people, and I get it again, people just don't know. And some people don't ask, some people don't care, and some people do.
Yeah.
And that's okay too. I mean, I think inflation is difficult for everyone right now, including the city of Blaine. You know, I need 3 plow trucks, Tyler, this budget cycle. That's $1.5 million. But you want clean streets, right?
More than anything.
So I'm going to have to buy 3 plow trucks.
Did our 3 of them break down, or we just need more now?
No, because here's the thing too with supply chain issues. I can order one today. I won't get it for 2 years.
Holy cow.
And some of the trucks that we have, you can't even order parts anymore. And they're not even that old.
So are we behind? Like, do we not have enough plow trucks right now?
No.
We don't.
No. I'm not saying that.
So
I
why
think
do we need
there's
3
2
more?
backups. Okay, I was just at Public Works last week for about a couple of hours. Went through the entire fleet with the fleet manager and our Public Works director. I want to make sure I get these numbers right. I think throughout the city of Blaine, is there 16 or 17 designated plowing routes,
Okay.
all assigned to specific drivers, specific equipment. There is 2 pieces of backup equipment to those 16.
Okay.
And all are functioning. Like, we have mechanics on site at Public Works that take really great care of those vehicles.
How many plow trucks do we have currently?
Well, you have
16?
16 plow routes, but no, there's different types, right? Based on the infrastructure.
Do you guys employ like the Joe Schmo with the pickup
Joey
truck?
Bag of Donuts?
Yeah. Do we
No.
employ those people like for help at times or anything like
No.
that? No. Okay. So any city street has to come
Well, it is
It
cleaned
is
by
being
city
cleaned
staff,
by
city personnel,
Yeah.
Public Works. Yeah.
okay. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Tony Joe, which is like a really cool name. Tony Joe.
It's
love
one
that
name.
Tony Joe.
I like it.
I've heard this one many times in the residential world for sure when it comes to speculation of purchasing homes with wildlife behind them.
Yep.
So why do they keep allowing all these massive 40 to 80-year-old trees to be ripped down everywhere? The whole city is going to look like a soccer field pretty soon. Keep Blaine wild, from Tony Joe. And I know how much you value, like, I mean, you said you grew up,
in the woods.
on acreage, right?
Yeah.
I know how much you value the
Yeah.
wildlife, the trees, the space, all that stuff. So I think this one is maybe somewhat, near and dear to you.
I mean, obviously it is. Well, a few things. And again, these are things that people don't like to necessarily hear because they visually see something else. Like,
Right.
when you see a new development go in, I want to be so clear that is not the city clearing land. That is not the city selling land to a developer. Those are private property owners. In most cases, especially up on this northeast part of the city, those are private property owners, second, third generation property owners that have massive pieces of property
Yep.
that will take the highest dollar amount.
Yep.
They don't care.
Yep.
And and good on them. If
Yeah,
that's your
they made an
financial
investment.
plan is selling land, like,
Yeah.
good on you. It has nothing to do with the city.
Yeah.
And it sucks, right? Because
And you can't, like, rezone
Lexington
it.
Waters. Well, I can rezone some, but then, like, for instance, Lexington Waters, so that's the super northeast corner of the city.
Yep.
All that's developed. It's all zoned for housing. There is
Yeah.
one gentleman in the middle, and then Tamblins, but we love Tamblins. I want them to stay forever. There's one gentleman in the middle that has like 40 acres. What am I going to do? Pocket zone his house?
Right.
I can't do that.
Right.
Now, could I make nice with them, build a relationship, and be like, hey, what if you sold it to the city for a reasonable price and we made it open space? I can try that. But we all know at the end of the day, the almighty dollar reigns supreme.
Yeah.
Now, being on the receiving end of a certain aesthetic, like, for instance, when I bought my second house in Blaine, it's just trees everywhere.
Yeah.
Then a development came in. It is, I want to be completely, like, I hear where he's coming from.
Tony Joe. Yeah.
It is jarring to watch 100 acres of trees come down in like 2 days.
Yeah.
I don't even know how they do it. It
Yeah.
actually makes me really sad.
Me too.
I don't like it. But it's not the city being like, yeah, baby, cut down trees. We hate trees. No. truth be told, 26 consecutive years in a row, the city of Blaine is a Tree USA city.
What does that mean?
Tree USA city is a designation by, I think it's the federal, is it state or federal? I think it's the Minnesota DNR that manages it, because I looked it up last night. There's certain requirements that you have to meet. Like you have to have actual like ordinances written that encourage X amount of trees per acre, forestry, habitation, like tree management plans, and all these things. Like you have to have all these things in place, and the city has those.
Yeah.
A lot of the trees that are coming down now are emerald ash borer. And that sucks because a lot of them are big, beautiful trees, but that nasty little insect came in and is destroying all of them.
Yeah.
Like, to the like we literally are talking like millions and millions of dollars to remove trees. Because you know what's awesome about capitalism? All these people that cut down trees are like, dang, these cities got a problem on their hands. Guess how much it just cost to cut down a tree?
Right.
Probably went from $500 to a couple $1,000.
Yep.
So we pay for that too. But no, we love trees. And, you know, we have about cumulatively through the city of just less than 2,000 acres of open space. I mean, you got your 66, 67 parks.
Yep.
It's funny, when we were filming that video, one of the days that we filmed, we went up to the 8th floor of Infinite Campus.
Yep.
And the whole thought process was, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm going to dunk on all these, you know, naysayers that are like, there's no houses in the city of Blaine.
Right, there's no
one's
density.
doing anything.
Yeah.
And we had just, you know, North Meadows was starting to be built, and, you know, the Pulte project was there, and all this other development, senior apartments. And I thought, let's go send the drone up.
Yeah.
And let's show them all
How
these
much
houses.
we got going on.
Do you know what you couldn't see? Through endless tree caps, any freaking houses. We literally had to take it out.
Right.
Because it just looks
It just
like,
didn't solve the
who lives
problem.
here? No one?
Yeah, we're in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
No,
But again, I get it. Change is hard. It's so hard. And I empathize with it. I get it. Been there.
Yeah.
But there is no secret plan to be diabolical. Again, the natural element of our community is the core of our character as a community. No one is looking to change that
Right.
or disrespect it or negate it. That is not the case at all.
Well, and you know, I grew up in Champlin, so I grew up with some trees, but not like a ton. But I lived out in Rockford, and I saw how, you know, that community was different with acreage and all that stuff. So, like, I have definitely an appreciation for it. But at the same time, like a lot of these questions we're alluding to, people want more things in the city, right? And it's like a lot of it is fueled by, like, people. You know,
Tell your neighbor not to sell their 40 acres to a developer.
Yeah,
They'll stay forever.
But it's like the catch-22. It's like we want these things,
Right.
But businesses aren't just gonna pop their doors open because we're gonna get 5 people to come through on a Saturday night. It's like, no, they need 50 an hour probably to come. You know,
Yeah.
It's like we need people.
Restaurants need lunch crowds. So restaurants typically like to be near young professionals or like industrial areas. So like Lucy's.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever been there. They have really fun kids' night activity stuff. They have a great lunch crowd. Infinite Campus and Aveda and all those industrial spaces back in that Pheasant Ridge area.
Yeah. I wonder, like, so Blaine has how many residents?
About
roughly?
72,000.
Okay. So, like, I think on the surface, people are like, we have 72,000 people. Why do we need more? But I think at the same time, is it because we're so large of an area that the people per acre, I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know what you guys go by.
Units per acre.
Units per acre is like really low compared to other cities nearby, right? Because they have 60,000, 70,000 people in a much smaller area.
Yeah, of course.
Is that fair?
I mean, yeah, but that's not like the only.
It's not like the only metric that matters.
Yeah. It's a key one,
Yeah.
certainly. And I mean, and I want to touch on that too. Like, I don't want us to have 100,000 people here.
Yeah.
But then, you know, again, to ask residents or whoever, like, what's the number? Will Trader Joe's come here if Blaine has 80,000 people?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it going to take 95,000 people?
Right.
I don't want to be a city of 95,000. Quite honestly, I don't want to be a city of more than 80,000 because I just don't.
Yeah.
I just don't.
But at the same time, it's a large city. Like,
What's square miles? It's a large city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I think we could support 80,000 and it wouldn't feel like 80,000 too at the same time.
Yeah, but do we have to?
No, I mean, I don't know.
But that's the fundamental question again.
Right.
Do you want trees or do you want Trader Joe's?
Right.
But and I'm not trying to be tongue in cheek. I'm just like, what value has a higher
Yeah.
level of priority for you?
Mm-hmm.
And I would be lovely to have both. And if I could find a way to get you both, I will get you both.
Yeah.
And then some.
Yeah.
Super sad.
I know you will.
I will totally do it.
Alyssa Farland asked, I'd love to understand why City Council voted to keep the area soon to be developed along the soccer fields restaurant free. And I don't know if this was actually the case or not. Saying Blaine already has too many. Did that actually happen?
No. We literally just did
This news was a huge disappointment to me
Yeah.
and others. We were hoping for a really good steakhouse and other finer dining options.
Yeah.
I'm curious what shaped the decision to keep it retail and condos.
I have no idea what.
So this is fake news.
Like I told you yesterday, I was at the sports center
For a
doing
pizza pub.
groundbreaking on 2 restaurants.
Right.
The whole premise of that entire redevelopment area, yes, of course, is to include a retail angle, to include an office angle, and it has to be restaurants. There absolutely has to be. Whether
Yeah.
that's food halls, whether that's really high-end restaurants that'll be in some of the hotels that'll be on site, whatever
Yes.
that looks like. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know. Again, empathy, because I don't know what people know and don't know. I also don't know where people get their information.
But there was no vote for this.
No.
Okay. So
No,
that's
the entire zoning is set to encourage restaurants and art and retail and.
but that's good to know.
higher-end
So
finishes.
Alyssa, just
Yes.
I mean, just you know, you have somebody here that is telling you that wasn't a vote that happened, and she loves restaurants and she wants to see those things happen, just like I think we all do. And Alyssa, you're my best friend because I also want a really good steakhouse.
I like steak too.
You know, and honestly, I do like the idea or the concept of, hey, we're gonna need some hotels over there, right?
Yeah,
Because
you're gonna get at least 2.
But here's the deal: you just said they should. I mean, some hotels have really nice restaurants.
100%.
Like some of the best restaurants are in a hotel.
in hotels.
So like, hey, if
Yeah.
we get a nice steakhouse, looking out over whatever's out there that we can't talk about, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like that. That could happen,
You're
Alyssa.
gonna freak out.
That-
There's so much cool stuff happening.
yeah, there's a lot of cool
it's
things.
just not my news to share.
Yeah, it's not
Sometimes
your.
I don't like knowing stuff
Yeah.
because then I can't tell people.
Gosh, we have done a lot of these.
Okay.
So we've gotten through a lot of the questions.
Yeah.
Like there's some other like suggestions that I was going to just ask your opinion
Suggestion
on.
box. Let's hear it.
Kind of like suggestion box.
Let's
yeah.
go.
So we already answered this one. So
Okay.
more restaurants, less homes. Like just in general, we want more restaurants. So like, let's do it. We're on board with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And like not chain.
But can we talk about that?
Yes.
With inflation and interest rates being difficult and building expenses still being high, there is a trend happening right now. When you read the Finance Journal and the Business Journal, with lease rates, leasing right now is expensive. For example, about 4 or 5 years ago, lease rates for tenants in some of the vacated space that we have here, $25 a square foot. Right now it's $50
Yeah.
for new builds.
Yep. Because in
Now-
case a lot of people don't understand this, and hopefully I'm not saying this wrong, but the owners of these empty buildings, a lot of times they obviously didn't like pay cash for them. They got loans on them.
Sure.
And a lot of those loans in the commercial world, or almost all of them, are on like a 1 to 3 year basis, and then they refinance them. And unfortunately, when rates go from 2% to 8,
Right,
it changes how much they now need for that space
right.
in order for it to even be worth it.
Well, and
you know?
I think that financial component combined with just the federal inflation
Yeah.
and increased building costs. Lumber was up like what 35%.
Oh, it was
like
insane.
It was dumb. And they have to pass those costs on. So part of the reason why we see chains, like we'll pick on Culver's. I love Culver's too.
I love Culver's.
You ever had a banana shake there?
No.
Get one.
Get one?
They're so good.
I'm going to have to.
I get a banana shake and french fries there. It's like my favorite thing. And those crinkle fries are money.
They are money
They're so
for
good.
sure.
Even if they get cold, they're so good.
Yeah. They never get
Banana
cold. I
shake,
eat them in
you
like
need to get
literally
it.
10 seconds.
It's super yummy. But we got a lot of pushback when that Culver's came through council, right? The one
Really?
on Lexington. Now, again, here's a situation. The zoning is set. I cannot stop it from happening legally unless I want to get sued. You want me to squander your taxpayer dollars in lawsuits? I'm all in.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do that because we're trying to build a better reputation with ourselves amongst the development community. Culver's comes in, we get tons of pushback. The problem is Culver's can afford it. Culver's, national brands, national chains have a fatter pile of cash to work with than like a mom and pop place.
No, I totally get it. Yeah.
One of the restaurants that I've been trying to get here for, oh my gosh, at least 2 years. I love them. I will tell you, you should go there. It's a restaurant called The Hen and the Hog. It's in Albertville.
Okay.
I love it. It's like scratch kitchen. It's so
And
delicious.
a place like that in Blaine would crush it.
Absolutely crush it.
Hen and the Hog.
The Hen and the Hog in
Let's
Albertville.
go.
It's so good. The problem again, so here they are in Albertville. They opened during the pandemic, survived, like did great, but they have a landlord that's not charging $50 a square foot. They can't reasonably, from a business decision-making process, be like, yeah, I'm happy to pay $50 a square foot.
Right.
They won't make it. They won't make it. They'd have to charge you $30 for a stack of pancakes just so they can afford $50 a square foot. So the balance it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I would love to have them here.
Yes.
I would love it. They're so, oh man, they're so
What if I turn my podcast studio into a Hen and Hog
kitchen?
restaurant kitchen?
This is such a weird place for a restaurant, though.
It is.
You get like zero traffic.
know.
You'd just be your personal chef.
That would be
He
amazing.
would just be cooking for you.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do.
Sneaky.
Hen and Hog, calling you later.
His name is Matt. He's awesome.
But anyways, I think we're all on board with the whole restaurant thing. I totally get the struggle, and you know, the places that you go, for, like you travel, and you're like, oh my gosh, all these unique, amazing places. Like, yeah, because there's tourists there supporting, like, you know what I mean? Of course they're gonna go there.
Yeah.
But you go down the road a few miles, and guess what? It's Chick-fil-A, it's Culver's, it's McDonald's, it's
know.
you know what I'm saying?
Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, and Culver's have the piles of cash to do it.
And I love all three of those places.
And I
don't
do.
mind.
Sometimes I do. But I mean, mom and pop places can't do that. Those unique restaurants that you want can't do it. They cannot afford to do it in this market. And right now, I think our vacancy rate is like 2%.
Yeah.
There's nowhere for them
Not
to
a
go.
ton.
We
Yep.
don't have Old Town Stillwater vibes where I can put someone in a 200-year-old building and refurb it.
know.
Like, we don't have that.
Yep.
So it's difficult, but I do think we are hoping to draw some of those like really fun things with the food hall that'll probably go into the downtown.
So you're doing like a food hall like in Nashville?
I'm
Like
never
an
been to
assembly hall?
Nashville. Am I going to hear about this? I've never been to Nashville.
Yeah, you should hear about it because Nashville is
I went
fantastic.
to Memphis once.
But they have an assembly hall in Nashville where you like go into this building. It's right off of Broadway.
Okay.
And yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, 20 different little restaurants right in this thing. It's super cool.
Okay. Yeah,
It's like a glorified food court.
it would have a rooftop
Again, love it.
to serve as an amenity to something else that I
See,
can't
like
dialogue.
Jess can say whatever she wants to me after she says rooftop on anything. I don't even care.
I know.
Like, you just know the way to my heart.
I like rooftops.
Rooftop.
Rooftop.
For the love of God.
Yep.
Just get a high-end steakhouse. It's on here like 5 times. Just get it. I will
thing.
support it myself.
I can, well, and
I'll go
if you
there.
make that commitment,
I'll
then-
be there.
But again, I think here's what gets lost 34 square miles. The lakes is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. The TPC is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. But you still have 70% of a city
Yeah.
where the demographics aren't exactly the same.
Roseville.
And
Baltimore's
I know, but
packed.
Their infrastructure is so
I
different.
know.
And
They bring
Baltimore's-
people from the mall.
and
I
it's
get
a
that.
destination restaurant. That's a destination dining experience. And I'm not saying we can't create that, but I'm just telling you, this is some of the feedback that we've heard. Because, I mean, we've had meetings. I've brought
Like
restaurant,
from the
Yes.
restaurants themselves.
I've brought restaurant groups into town, and I literally did like a little Blaine, like restaurant/pub crawl with them.
Yeah.
Like we stopped at Invictus, then we went to Bricks, then we capped off at Oliver's, just to like give them like the vibe. They talked to Previn at Invictus, like, hey, what's it like working with the city of Blaine? And Previn's like, oh, you know, I love the city of Blaine. Jess
Yeah.
Robertson is my favorite council member. I think that's what he said.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
I'm
he
pretty
said
sure
that.
that's what he
Yeah.
said. And then, he talked with Corey at Oliver's, and just to be able to dialogue like the nitty gritty and the reality. Restaurants are hard. God bless Michael and Baltimore for being able to make it work. But again, when you go to Baltimore, you are forking out big stacks of cash. Easy peasy. If Ryan and I go there, I know for sure we're going to spend $250.
Easy.
Because I need wine.
Yeah.
Because I like the wine so much.
Yeah.
The Camus is like my favorite.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So,
but you just don't think like they're telling you they don't think that the people here will shell out that money?
So we've heard some feedback like we don't know that your residents are ready for our brand. Like, are they ready to spend $17 on a cocktail? Okay, but you say that. But remember, you're just like, that's you saying that. So, I mean,
I think there's a lot of money in Blaine that people don't see.
And I don't deny that, right? But here, I can only work with what I have to work with.
I mean, we're not talking about, a lot of Blaine is not like starter homes. A lot of Blaine is bigger homes too. Like, I think we kind of think it's just the lakes, and it's like, you can't, there's so many houses on the east side of Blaine. They're all over $500,000 at this point. Like, it's not cheap to live there.
It's not cheap to live anywhere.
Right. But like, there's other neighboring cities that I think average sale price is lower, average income is lower, stuff like that. So like,
don't tell people that, they'll move there.
No, well, they won't. Yeah, there's not many amenities.
All
there.
the cheap houses are in Lino Lakes.
Yeah, well, I don't know about Lino, but
that was the first neighboring city that
the
popped
school
into
district keeps that one pretty tough. As far as prices, is pretty high actually. The school district Centennial is big over there.
What do they have, a huge referendum on the
in
tax?
Lino? No. Like it's a very sought after school
it's
district.
a draw.
So yeah,
got it. I was like, wait, what are we talking about?
Sorry.
Okay, no, it's okay.
But I don't know.
I would love to have a steakhouse, Tyler. I absolutely would. I love steak.
Like, how do they try it? Like, how do they test it without like committing? Is there a way to like? Do they ever do that?
This is literally a phone call that I had yesterday. So every couple of weeks, I have a list of brokers that I call. It's the same brokers that have available space here in the city. I call all of them. I make sure they know what the vision is for the city of Blaine. So when that Culver's came through, that developer got a call. And I was like, yo, what did I tell you about this national chain business? Like, I don't need a Culver's here. Like, I already have one. All the things that residents said, I literally said, came out of my mouth to the broker for that project, who I have a relationship with now, because I've been making these calls for 2 years, so I can be a little sassy with him. But I got a call. Well, I called another one yesterday, and there is the vacated green mill space in the village off of Pheasant Ridge and Lexington. Huge space for a restaurant. It's like 7,500 square feet. It's a massive space. It sucks that it's vacant. I hate vacant spaces. It makes me sad. Literally makes my inside sad.
Yeah.
When the previous tenant left, they destroyed that space. He had a meeting with a restaurant that I won't disclose. I'll tell you off this, but I don't know how much of like the shop talk that I have with brokers is like, let's not repeat that into the public forum. A very well-established restaurant group with like 4 or 5 different restaurant concepts that are amazing. It would crush it here. $3.1 million to build the space out and get it back to a normal thing. That's just the build out.
Yeah.
That's to get the kit. I mean, the place took everything, Tyler. They took everything. Yeah. Paper towel racks out of the bathroom. They ripped every fixture. They took out every single thing they could. $3.1 million in today's market equates to a boatload in perpetuity. And then lease rates. Now, their lease rates are a little more flexible there, but now it's like that's everybody.
Well, I'm just going to hold out for that hotel restaurant we're talking about.
No, I think that'd be awesome.
I think that we could do that.
I like it.
Movie theater. Can we get one? Is it a priority? Is it anything that's ever talked about?
We dialogued it in the context of maybe the mall being interested in letting a movie theater take over the old Becker or the current Becker furniture space. Yeah. The old Carson's, Mervin's, Herberger space.
Mervin's.
Let me just age myself.
Yeah.
Carson Perry Scott. Holy smokes.
That would actually be kind of cool.
1980.
Movie theater,
in that context we did, but then again, if you put one at Northtown, you can literally drive 3 minutes up the road to AMC Showplace.
Right. I'm thinking more like this side of town somewhere, but I don't know where it would go.
There was for a hot second, dialogue about someone purchasing land and building another drive-in.
That would be amazing. And I was just
Not
going to ask
saying
you
it
about
wouldn't
that.
be amazing,
Oh my
but
gosh.
again, it's hard because everything's wetlandy, so all this
know.
available property is just really wetland heavy. But that conversation did happen. So there are people out there, and that was another person from the community, from the city.
Yeah.
That was like, I get it. Like, here's what I'll bring to the table. And I was like, that sounds awesome. Let's find a way to make it work. And
Yeah.
then wetlands made it hard because you can't park cars on wetlands.
What could it be during the winter?
A winter wonderland?
Like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Christmas tree farm? I
Like,
don't know.
Yeah, that could, I feel like that's the drawback to that business. It's just like, what the heck do you do in the winter?
I don't know.
Ice rink?
Whatever you want, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever's allowed in zoning.
What's the city nearby that does the winter wonderland thing? What was that? Is that was that in Champlin, Dayton? Do they do that?
No idea.
There's like an ice castle thing we just went to
Oh,
last winter.
well, Stillwater does something like
No,
that.
there's one
Shore-
like
the
in like
caves?
I'm pretty sure it's the
Shoreview?
Elm Creek.
Oh, Elm Creek Park?
They do like
really?
Yeah, there was like an ice castle.
Neat.
So maybe you could do that.
See it? Did you ever see like the real ice castle? No, you were
No.
probably not alive.
Mm-mm.
When they used to do the ice castle for the winter carnival, like, oof.
I did not.
Take us down there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Maybe we could do that
Incredible.
in the drive-in spot.
We have talked about doing all kinds of things. At one point in time, well, now that there are turf fields going in at the NSC, the
Yep.
NSC can flood them without it damaging long-term grass.
Look at that.
So we had talked about putting in an oval, sort of, skating outdoor thing, and maybe working with the Blaine Festival to bring a winter festival to town. But
Yeah.
I think once all of these projects start falling into place, naturally, we're going to have spaces to do that kind of stuff.
One thing I didn't write down, but I keep thinking about it and then I
Yeah.
forget. So I want to like throw it out there.
Yeah.
Is what's happening in the lakes on the lake when it's frozen? What are we doing?
You're doing polar plunge, baby.
Oh snaps! Polar
go,
plunge
baby.
coming to Blaine.
So our law enforcement agency is really plugged into the Special Olympics. One of our detectives, Detective Orrin Christensen, is on the like the planning board for the Special Olympics. Special Olympics is actually coming here in 2025, I think. But February in 2024, the first time ever in the Polar Plunge series, Sunrise Lake.
Yes.
So the objective from law enforcement is to make it the largest attended event in the Polar Plunge series this cycle. I think we can do it.
Heck yeah,
They're
we can do it.
thinking 800 to 1,000 people. That would be incredible. And, not that I am using one to benefit the other, but it's a great look for the city of Blaine. The more we end up in the papers, like, hey, look at the city of Blaine topping the charts for the Polar Plunge, helping the Special Olympics. Those kinds of things are the things that we can use when we're dialoguing with Shields or Trader Joe's to get them to look outside of metrics. It's like, okay, you don't have density. What do you have to offer me? Blaine's amazing.
Community involvement. Yeah.
Exactly. It's, not another community like it. And I fundamentally believe that. And I have no problem sitting down and telling people that. But I think next winter is going to be really incredible. So I think
So it's not this winter; it's next winter.
well, no, it's February.
It's this coming up, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've
You
only
better
done
get a
it.
team together.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've only done it one time,
Okay.
and it was an experience. I'll say that.
Oh, it's freaking cold.
Yeah, it's cold, but they got the hot tubs there.
I mean,
like,
they do. I did it once, and I tried to plan like somewhat strategically where I picked like the last one in the series. So it was like March.
yeah.
Where maybe, just maybe, it might be like, I don't know, 34 degrees
Yeah.
instead of like minus 12.
Yeah.
So it wasn't horrible. When they picked February, I was like, come on, man. And I think the week before that, I'll be on vacation. So then I'm going to come back,
Oh yeah, you're not gonna be
go jump in
acclimated
that.
at
I'm going
all.
to freeze my tan off.
I can't wait to see it.
It'll be awesome. So yeah, you got to get a team,
Yep.
dress up.
Tyler Miller
raise-
team will be there in full
I
force.
love it.
I guarantee it.
Raise boatloads of money for the Special Olympics. We're super, super excited about it. We want to make sure that we give Blaine PD the boost they need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wrapping up
Are we?
because
Oh, my
honestly,
stars.
I have like 5 other questions. I'll take another hour, so we'll have to
Oh
do
my
this another
gosh.
time. But I know you have things you have to do, and I want to make sure that I respect that time. So I'm trying to think of the last one here. So I guess the thing I want to end with would be. So you've been a council member for 7 years.
No, 5.
I'm sorry, 5 years. There's 7 council members. Maybe
I
that's
was
what
like, how long have we been here? Did 2 years
it's been
pass?
2. Yeah, it's been 2
Oh
more
my
years
God.
since it started. Since the podcast started. So you've been a council member for 5 years. I don't know when you're like. how your terms all work or whatever.
4-year terms.
4-year
Yep.
terms. So how much longer do you have on this term? 3. Okay, so let's. I wrote down, what does the future hold for Jess? 5 years. I think that's kind of a fun question to ask you. So you got 3 years of this. Anything when you think down the road, just for yourself personally, like what is it that you hope to accomplish, or
Super good question.
or like where do you want to be at in life in 5 years?
Yeah. That's a really good question because it kind of aligns with my kids like really being adults.
Yeah.
And so it's a different part of my life that I guess I haven't really talked about. I mean, I spent the last 23 years of my life being a parent and keeping kids alive.
Right.
And so you don't know what to do with free time when you have it.
I know.
And I think combined with that too, and we touched on this like at the early part, like, man, I don't know what the Lord has planned for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I didn't expect to be doing this.
Right.
So I don't know what that plan is, but I do think that I look forward to being at a place in life where I can say yes to more stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey, Jess, can you like volunteer here, or do you want to, donate time to whatever? Yeah, I would love to do that. I would love to spend more time up north.
Yeah.
Like my backup plan is if it just got DEFCON 5 here at the city of Blaine and I just had to say, screw all of you, I would move to the lake and try to run for like Aiken County Commissioner or something and just like live out my life up on Mille Lacs and just like,
So do you see yourself involved in politics in the
I really don't know.
future?
Again, listen, once you get into real partisan politics, because it does creep in, and we talked about that. I hate that part. I don't think that is for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets so nasty, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't like being. I don't like being angry. I don't like being frustrated.
Right.
It's really hard for me sometimes in professional situations to not want to tell people to F off.
Right.
And you can't do that.
No.
In the real world, I can.
Yeah.
But in this, you can't. And I don't want to have to get to the point where I'm telling people that.
Right.
Either. And so I don't know. Tyler. I don't know. Listen, I know what happens when you say no. The Lord's like, hey, hold on.
Yeah.
I got something
Hold
for
my beer.
you. So Jesus drinks
Hold
wine.
my wine.
Hold my Merlot.
Was it Merlot?
I don't know what Jesus was making. I don't know if you ever seen that
another
meme.
shirt
This
idea.
is a totally sidebar.
Hold my
Have
wine,
you ever
Jesus.
seen the meme? It's like a picture of a liquor store, but when you go to Target, they have like the little labels on the aisle, like, "Hey, this is the soup aisle," or "This is the whatever." It's all red wine, but the sign says water, and the meme says, oh, "Jesus was here."
That's amazing.
I know, I love it so much. Oh my God. So I don't know. My kids will be old. I mean, when you get into a second marriage scenario and you're getting married and you have instant family, we're at a time in our lives now where it's like, oh my gosh, we have freedom.
Yeah.
So we're like kind of doing fun things that like
Well,
we never did when
there's
we
songs
were.
about this. It's, your kids grow up and then you fall in love all over with your spouse again. You get to know your spouse again.
I love that.
Because, it's a different life when you're raising kids a little bit. Your relationship is different.
It is. I joked with someone a couple days ago that when Chuck is done with school, that I will probably play more cribbage because I'm really bad at it.
Yeah.
And I'm so competitive that I hate losing. Like, Ryan won't even play with me anymore.
I love cribbage.
And he beats me, and I'm so bad. But I do love it. We just go play for hours at the lake. I love it so much.
Do you play 500?
Yeah. So
Where you like bid and all that stuff?
I don't know that it was the bidding, but it was the counting. It was never bidding. At least in our family's version of 500, you had one of two groups. You picked the card group or you picked the cribbage group. I never picked the cribbage group. So I just learned to play this game, which you should not play when you drink because by the time you're like 15-2, 15-4, 15-6, you're like, what?
Yeah.
It's the worst.
And then if they're playing with somebody who's cutthroat, they'll take your points that you don't
I don't
count.
let Ryan do that to me, or I won't play with him anymore.
Yeah.
It's so mean. But that was on my bucket list. And then I really do want to try to refine my palate and find like a little sweet spot for whiskey and bourbon, just a little bit. Rye's a big time whiskey drinker.
Yeah.
He likes whiskey, so I thought that would be something fun that we could do together.
Ryan, we should hang out more.
Yes, babe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will drink some whiskey with you if she won't.
He would love that.
Yeah.
Secret about whiskey. Costco. During the holidays.
Yeah.
Sells like crazy. I shouldn't even say this because now I'm going to be pissed if I go there and they'll be like, oh, we just sold out. Someone
Our
heard about Tyler Miller's
68,000
podcast
followers.
and snatched it all. They put some crazy bottles of whiskey in there for super inexpensive.
Really?
Last year, the go-to was Blanton's. It was $49.
And what is it normally? Like 100
and something?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have really fun stuff there. And then the third thing on my list was golf more.
Yeah.
More time for golf.
I hope to also do that. I've really envisioned like me and Ashley golfing like into our later years.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I think
because
Brian will drive the cart
yeah,
and get high noons out of the cooler
Yeah.
for me.
he's not really a golfer.
No,
huh?
I just don't think that he has some bad discs in his neck.
Okay.
So sometimes he is fine to golf and sometimes he isn't.
Yeah.
But I also feel bad because I think I beat him every time.
Shots fired, Ryan.
He
You have to
knows.
prove her wrong. That will be on our golf podcast we're going to do.
Okay.
He's going to be there
Oh
as
my God,
well.
marriage counseling golf podcast. Perfect. He'll be like, you golfed how many rounds?
Right.
I'll be like,
Yeah.
Tyler, shut up.
Yeah, it was 3, not
God
30.
dang
What are you talking about?
Jeez. No, he knows.
Yeah.
No, I like it. I like being outside. But, you know, again, fundamentally, we're on this earth to love and serve people. Whatever that looks like for me 5 years from now, that's where I'll be.
Yeah. Whatever
Maybe
you're
it's still
called
doing
to.
this. I don't know, because we don't have term limits.
Yeah. If you can just keep getting reelected.
I don't. There's days I don't even want to be elected,
Yeah,
let alone
trust
get
me.
reelected.
There's days I don't want to get out of my pajamas. I get it.
So yeah, we'll see wherever the wind takes us. I mean, we'd even talked about moving.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
remember where I
yeah,
can golf
like-
all the time?
Yeah, different. Yeah, where there's golf carts on the streets
Yes, Tyler.
and steakhouses and yeah,
And what else did you want? More trees.
more trees, Trader Joe's, a
And-
community center with a water park.
And yeah, what else? I think I don't know.
I don't know. There was a lot of
People work
things,
'em.
lots of things that
Yeah.
we were asking for.
Yeah, and
Well, it sounds
all
like
apartments.
You have a yeah,
All apartments.
yeah. You're gonna live in an apartment for sure.
I saw the drawings for the housing that they're going to put in on 105th. They're really cool, like row homes. I would live in one of those if I didn't have kids. Would absolutely snatch one of those up
Yeah.
because there's going to be a spine through the middle of the development that's all walkable green space. Like
Yeah.
think of like a very skinny Central Park.
Yeah.
Like
No, some of these communities
Yeah.
are awesome, and like
Yeah.
I think people just they like you said, change is scary. They don't quite
yeah,
understand why some of this happening, and I fall in that group too sometimes. So we all
sure.
do.
I
And
do
so,
too. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, there's like so many good, awesome communities I come across where I'm just like, man, this is a great idea.
I know.
You know what I mean? I wish
Yeah.
we would have something like that. So like, but the only way that happens is if we kind of go outside the box and try it.
Exactly.
You know?
I know. But it's a really difficult time to take risky business
Yeah.
like measures. Like you just anyone who's really good at what they do isn't going to do that
Right.
without asking a boatload of questions.
Well, the one real estate thing I'll say is the good news is interest rates should be projected to be coming down in 2024. So,
To what? Like 6.82.
so yeah, they're probably going to come down. Honestly, they're probably going to come down like 2% by the end of 2024 is what we're all looking at. So yeah, they'll be down in the high
time for
high
me.
fives, low sixes.
Oh my God. Just in time for me to buy a mini house and put it in my
Right.
backyard for my kids.
There you go.
Oh my God, we can live together forever.
But yeah, so if you're waiting for the interest rates to come down before you do something,
Yeah.
you know, it's never going to get down to where it was.
No, but
that was a
that's-
crazy time.
So
So
it keeps me from wanting to sell my place and get out of Dodge because I'm locked into like
think about this for a
2%.
second, because I'm glad you brought this up.
Oh my gosh, are you going to try to talk me into selling my house?
No, you can't sell, but if you were going to,
Uh-huh.
this is why.
Oh, okay.
And it's because, so your interest rate on your house is what?
Literally like 2.2
2
something.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think what a lot of people have to understand is you don't actually have a 2.2% interest rate. Like on your house, sure.
'Kay.
You're right, you do.
Yeah.
But is your lifestyle blended interest rate?
What kind of lifestyle do you think I have? I shop at Costco,
Okay,
dude.
but okay. So a lot of people have debts.
Yeah.
A lot of people have student loans. They have credit
sure.
cards. They
Yeah.
have auto loans. They
Yeah.
have all sorts of stuff, right?
Sure.
Not everybody, but a lot of
Yeah.
people do. And so they're holding on to this house at 2.5% or 3%, but they're getting crushed over here. And it's like, you have $150,000 of equity in your home. You could take that, pay off this crap. Your interest rate on your house, well, yeah, it'd be like 7%. But your overall debt that you would
Sure.
have to come up with monthly is lower now. And by the way, you're going to gain appreciation on that house as the interest rates come down because the price is going to go up.
Yeah.
And so it's like some people they get so wrapped up in that interest rate thing. And I
Sure.
get it. For certain people, it's like,
Yeah.
yep, I don't have any other debts, Tyler. So like that doesn't apply to me. But most people have no money in their savings accounts right now. And their credit card debt is the highest it's ever been. by far.
They're not eating at steakhouses, Tyler.
They're not, but they will put it on a credit card.
You're straight up correct on that. They absolutely freaking will.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Charge
saying?
it, baby.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's go. 29.50% interest on a steak dinner.
And I'm shocked
Pass.
that I go to, we'll drive around the city at night to go to somewhere to eat. Every place is packed. Every single place is packed.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, the rates haven't come down because everybody is taking money out of their accounts. Okay. And when they do that, the bank has to sell mortgage-backed securities, which then keep rates higher. And so, again, if you look at these charts, and I'm nerding out, but I'm just telling you, this is what's happening.
Spreadsheet.
The money is the lowest it's been in the bank account system for a while. Part of that is because people can get better investments not in a savings account right now, so they're putting it like a money market.
Sure.
Anyways, that paired with credit card debt, that literally, the chart I saw was ridiculous. It was over the last 60 years, it was this little bloop, and we were right here at 2022, and it's the highest it's ever been, right? And then 2023, so it was this for 40 years. 2023 was here. That's how far up the credit card debt has gone.
I hate credit cards.
In 1 year, and it's because people don't have any.
I'm not going to touch the mic. I did it.
It's because people don't have any money in their savings accounts. So all that is
Y'all
working.
Gotta save. Don't these people watch Dave Ramsey?
But right. But again, I think people are well, but I can't move because I got all. It's you have so much money in your house. You have so much equity. Everybody does, and it's you know what? Solve your problems. Okay. Don't hold on to this low interest rate where you're dying to pay for everything else.
Right.
Pay off the rest of this crap. Get a house that, it's a little bit higher interest rate. Refinance it when it comes down, but your lower monthly payment is going to make your life easier, in my opinion. Right?
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the Tyler Miller opinion.
That was the section of the podcast at the very end that no one will hear. But
everyone shut the podcast off 48 seconds ago.
Yeah, if anybody was still listening to that, I hope you learned something.
Surprise, there's more.
Surprise, we're going for another hour.
Oh
with
my
the
God,
Tyler
buckle
Miller.
up, y'all.
Tyler Miller Real Estate Hour starts now. But anyways, that was just my little spiel. When people talk about their low interest rates, it just, I want people need to understand.
I get it.
People need to understand, but everybody's situation is different.
Right.
Anyways, with all of that being said, Jess.
Yeah. What up, dog?
You are incredible.
Super nice.
I think,
being way too nice.
If anybody actually listens to this whole thing,
we get a prize. We're not going to tell you what the prize is, but you get one.
See me for your prize. Email me for your prize. I'll figure it out. But if people actually listen to this, I think it clears up a lot of misconceptions.
I hope so.
I think it cleared, honestly, I think you did an amazing job with my onslaught of questions that I literally, every question I asked you, I hear every month from someone just mentioning something, you know what I'm saying? And so I think
it pops up on socials.
Right. And it's hopefully next time it pops up on socials, someone will say something I don't know what the podcast is, but there's some podcasts and I heard that, you know what I mean?
I'm one of the 62 listeners and I have it on good authority.
Seriously. But that's
Fake
it's just
news.
who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe we make a little small change here and people will just understand things and maybe appreciate what you guys do every single day and how hard it actually is to make this shit happen. So I just want you to know I appreciate you.
That's really kind. And I appreciate that. I really do.
And I think a lot of people appreciate what you do as well. So I know I speak for lots of people, but I can sleep at night knowing that there's someone in our city council, probably among many others, but I know you personally, that is going to go to bat for what's best for our community every single day and work her tail off when you don't necessarily need to, but you love it. You know what I mean?
I don't love it. I just hate failing, and I'm super competitive.
Right.
That's the problem.
You love something about it.
I do. I love the community. And, I tell people all the time because, just like when you were reading your questions, well, why did council do this? Listen, I cannot live in yesterdays. I just can't.
Yeah.
I can learn from yesterdays, but I can't live in yesterdays. So I live in tomorrows. So what that means is that what I'm doing today is what I'm hoping will impact the city of Blaine, the greatest benefit, 10, 15, 25, 30 years from now.
Yeah.
I can't change yesterday's. I can't change something other councils did. I can't change something that you don't like. If it's something that we need to learn from and, revisit or dialogue or change something, sure. But I can't live in yesterdays.
Yeah.
I just can't. I mean, it's just, I can't do it.
Yeah. And that's why we love you.
Well, that's really nice. And I appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
I mean, I would also add that although life does get busy, like I am always happy to have these conversations anytime. Really.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Just call you up.
Yeah, please.
What's your phone number?
All
No,
of
I'm
our
just kidding.
contact. Let's see, Tyler Miller. It's all online.
Yeah.
It's all on the blainmn.gov/city council.
Yeah. And if they want to just approach you at your house, no, I'm just kidding.
I would not recommend that.
Yeah, don't
that
do that.
has happened, and that is the not fun part of this.
Yeah, you guys, come on, don't do that.
I have repeat offenders.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
just know your boundaries, people.
Yeah.
But anyways, for any of you guys watching or listening, again, appreciate your support of the Obvious Choice podcast. And if you have anyone else in the community that you feel does, an incredible job at some aspect that should be featured, I would love to have them on. So please reach out and let me know. But again, Jess, thanks for being here. Really appreciate
Thank
you as
you.
always.
Thanks
and
for asking me.
we're
gonna have to do part 2, part 3,
yeah,
part
there's
4.
so much more that we could talk about. But
Yeah, anytime.
we will have to do that another day, so you can get on to your next appointment.
Trunk Highway 65 Coalition meeting. That's
Busy
what's on
Councilwoman
the
Robertson
agenda
must
for the
leave.
evening.
Her Secret Service is waving her out
Yeah, my
right now.
security details outside.
Yeah. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching and listening. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah. Thank you, Tyler.
Yep. Bye-bye.